cannot trust these leeches. I cannot trust these streets. I cannot trust these bitches. I gotta trust on me. I cannot tell my business. Stretching out racks, no fitness. Yeah, I swear we ghosts. We need to go down and get this. I put the gang on my shoulders and carry on. I put the strap on my shoulder and bring it home. Haters be low-key fans and singing my songs. I swear to God, if I see them in person, I'm doing them wrong. I gotta stay focused, they pull out their camera, take pics. Every time I'm closing my eyes, I'm seeing me running from pigs. She don't speak or don't talk, she shy, she needed something to get lit. You coming and fuck up the vibe, we scratching your name out the list. Yeah, I got my soul in this. Yeah, then I told them this. Yes, sir. Yeah, gotta stay focused. Yeah, we don't focus. I must stay focused on these big bank rolls. I can't trust these hoes. No. I must stay focused on these big bank rolls. I can't trust these hoes. No.
Yeah, maybe too big, it can't fit in the driveway. I've been fucking hard since Big Worm been on Friday. I've been tripping hard on these hoes since MySpace. Taking the top out of beans, baby. Taking the top out of beans. If I pull up with your rent, baby, you gotta swallow my kids. If I'm a dog, I'm a pit, baby. Having fantasy love with a rich lady. I put it on my list. She mad, I told my friends. I stop hanging with your nigga, just fuck on you. Every day, baby, on your daddy. And I wanna correct you, just fuck on you, bitch. I just add you to my life. Rose gold beans, rose gold rims and ties. Rose gold shaded chain gang. All's brother is bro, that is up in Petersburg. Slaw, make your pussy slurp.
Today, we're going to talk about the loaded college basketball slate, NFL and college football plays for the weekend, and of course, the squad ride. This is Behind the Lines.
But Rodgers is a fucking fossil. This team's in shambles. The Steelers are a wagon at home. It's going to be a gross fucking game. And I'm going right back to fading the Jets.
And once again, the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, when the lights are bright, do not show up and they fold. Their receivers are banged up. The ones out there couldn't catch shit. Their defense is taking a step back. This 49ers team is a fucking joke, and I'm looking at you, Kyle Shanahan. You're supposed to be that guy.
In the postseason for the first time in his career, and they find a way to fucking blow it. Look, we should have known the Yankees bullpen was going to come back and bite them in the ass at some point. They've been a little bit too good, but my goodness, did we think it was going to be Big Christmas?
What's going on, chat? Welcome to BTL episode 590. As always, hold the fry, joined by your two hosts, Krabs and Jovan, presented by Bookit Sports. If you're not tracking your bets on Pickets, literally, what are you doing? Start tracking your bets today on Bookit Sports. I promise you'll keep doing it and keep using that Fire app. All right, go check out Pickets. Cannot be easier to use, free to use. Start tracking your bets over there today. Jovan, how about the Wolfpack last night, my man? Clap it up. Let's fucking go.
A lot of heart.
Let's fucking go. Tons of heart. Absolutely oozing heart. CJ Bailey might be the next Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Not what I'm saying. That's just what I'm hearing. He's him. Great fucking game. Great fucking game. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. We got a lot to go over today on a loaded BTL Friday, the best BTL of the week, guys. We're going to go over the weekend previews. Okay, don't you worry. We're going to get Rav on here for college football as well, and then we're going to go over NFL. But first, we're going to go over the Sharp Report here in a little bit. Why don't we go ahead and do the recaps, get those over with so we can get to some winners for today. Absolutely loaded college basketball slate. I know you guys are going to want to talk about it. So why don't we hop in, do the recaps. Squad Ride Recap W. Go ahead and flash it. Boom. Love it.
Should've
Great
won.
fucking play. Lamar. Sure. Sharp Report. Let's take a peep at that as well. 3-2 for me. Jovan, 2-3. Yeah, that's why you don't take UVA, my man.
There's always some first halves. I'm going back to him, though. Don't worry.
You're going to bet UVA again.
Yeah.
Dude.
Red Hawk to it.
You didn't learn your lesson, huh? Betting
No, I
on
did
UVA.
not. In multiple sports, Krabs, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. We'll talk about that in a moment. All right. Decent day on the Sharp Reports. Not our best work, though. No steamed crabs today. I do want to let you guys know, though, the coin toss is out for this week. If you have not checked this out already, make sure you guys bookmark this, drop a like. Do not forget to check out the coin toss later this afternoon to get your winners for the weekend. Or before, the Saturday slate starts up and you're locking in, you're sitting on your couch, you're getting your coffee, you're getting your breakfast, you're getting your winners locked in. You put that on before we get college game day and you get your winners, you get your fix there. So check out the coin toss, guys. It's on YouTube at Bookit Sports. Worth your time. Worth your time. Okay. Easy Puck coming in with the resub. Let's fucking go, Easy Puck. Subbing up Pega. Nobody deserves it more than Pega getting blessed up with a subby. Ooh, let's go, Pega. Holy Howitzer's coming in with a resub as well. Legacy weekend incoming. Yes, I have a feeling we're going to have a great weekend. Excited to talk about some winners and some plays with you guys. Okay. Hype train moving and grooving. Easy Puck. Thank you again. You gave out a couple subbies already today. Love to see it. Krabs, you saw the Oilers' first goal. I did not. Anybody know what he's talking about with the Oilers' first goal last night?
Marc-Andre Fleury just let one trickle through his legs. I don't know what he was doing. This goal. You might have to hang
Interesting. Him up. Might have to hang him up. How about them FAU boys? Yeah, I bet him again today. That's what I'm sweating out right now as we speak. -1.5. So if you guys are looking for a live bet, that could be the move. All right, we'll get into some winners for today. Why don't we go ahead and dive into the sharp reports? Enough bullshit. Enough talking about yesterday. Squad ride W's. Let's get into some winners for today. I've got a nasty college basketball play that I want to tell you guys about. All right, San Diego, as some call it. Look, this team is sharp every fucking game, and they typically don't come through, but I cannot resist today, Jovan. I got to get involved in San Diego. Look, I don't make the rules. I just play by them. And they're playing a 4-1 Southern Utah team. And we're seeing some steam towards San Diego as well here, who's coming off of back-to-back losses. They have not looked great so far this season. They were favorites in the last game against Idaho State. Shout out the Potatoes, right? Our beloved Idaho State team. They were -3.5 in that last game, and they lost outright at home. Embarrassing. Now, tonight they have a chance to get some revenge at home at Jenny Craig Pavilion. And I think San Diego, for the first time this season, comes through in a sharp spot for sharp bettors. I'll take the +1.5. We might need it, but I'll take San Diego, who's 1-3 right now, looking like one of the sharper plays on the college basketball hardwood tonight. 10 p.m. Eastern, late night game. Let's fade Southern Utah, who's been great so far this season, but they haven't played anybody yet. And let's back San Diego, +1.5 here at home, with that line trickling down from -2.5 to -1.5.
Love your San Diego schools, Krabs.
I do. Yeah, +1.5. We might need that point. That game could be nasty. It could go down to the last possession. We'll see.
Could be.
Let's see what Jovan's cooking up over there.
Yeah,
you got a winner for us?
You know what I couldn't resist, Krabs? I know Jokic's status is up in the air, so we'll see about that. But Mavs +3 in Denver without Luka, down from +4.5. I could not pass up, especially being when these teams were fully healthy not too long ago. The same game happened. Nuggets won. Now you're getting a Mavs team without Luka. We'll see if Jokic plays, but if he plays, honestly, that's not only better for the line, but I love betting against the Nuggets when Jokic has to be the guy because it's not his game. Because there's an obvious size advantage there with whether it's Gafford, whether it's Lively. Like, he's going to own them on the boards. He's going to have to be super aggressive. When the Nuggets are playing their best ball, when Jokic is playing his best ball, it's not when he's aggressive. It's when he's able to be a playmaker. So I feel like in the Mavs, or with the Mavs in this game in Denver, obviously you're going to get Kyrie. I saw a tweet the other day. It was like, you guys are going to be real damn familiar. Remember what it's like when Kyrie's the guy, because he's had that opportunity very few and far in between recently, because he's been on the Mavs, he's been on the Nets, he's been on all these teams, Celtics even, where he's 1A option or 2 option or whatever. Now he gets to be the full option. He dominated this team with Luka. I think he's going to dominate them without him today. And there's a reason why I think the line is so short without Luka. Even with like no Jokic being a part of the fold, I expected a little more, and he's questionable, so we don't even know that's a certainty yet. So give me the Mavs to get an upset on the road.
Find some bad news. Taking a sharp dog down from +4.5 to +3. Sign me up. 2 words, chat. Sign me up. I'm in. All right, let's go ahead and hear about San Jose State. Jesus Christ. Because I'm taking them too.
Yeah. Has to be done. Has to be done, dude. Because UNLV is coming in pretty fat, happy, and complacent, I would say. Really ever since that Boise game, like that was their chance to really make noise on the national scene, maybe get their foot in the door as far as playoffs go, and they've been kind of somewhat coasting ever since. Like, they went on the road, weird game against Hawaii that they snuck out. It's on the island. They haven't been good on the road, so I could give them a pass for that. They beat a bad San Diego State team at home. Now they're going back on the road to face Coach Ken and the boys. I think you mentioned it earlier, a week after San Jose State burned a lot of sharp people that took them against Boise State with a late collapse in that game. This is where you get them. And this is where the aerial attack for San Jose State locks in. Obviously, you have one of the best wide receivers in the country, Nick Nash. Whenever they're on a national television, they've come out and said this publicly. They're looking to feed him and boost his draft stock because he is. They want people to know about Nick Nash, rightfully so. And what better time to do it than against a rat shit UNLV defense that, again, like, it wasn't just the Hawaii game. It wasn't just, I don't know, Oregon State in the game where, frankly, they should have lost that game because they're terrible in that game. They've just been bad on the road, period. And I don't think that's any accident. So give me the Spartans and Coach Ken.
Yeah, sign me up. Has to be done. Thought Steam Krabs was going to be Kevin Conception selling the 4-man. I mean, yeah, it would be if I, even thought that had a chance to fucking hit. That guy sucks.
Yeah.
He stinks. He never does anything.
He probably would have hit it if that, what was it? The little jet sweep pass that, I don't know how that happened, the little pick six. He had nobody in front of him. That one at the beginning of the game.
Oh, I remember that play. That was to him.
That was to him. Yeah, that would have been yards, obviously. And there was nobody near him if you would have caught that ball.
Nice. Awesome. Great. Yeah, Kevin Conception, he might be the worst fucking wide receiver NFL prospect of all time. That guy stinks. Bad. He's not even getting drafted. Give me a break.
Bad.
Give me a break. Yeah, go and give me San Jose State tonight. Has to be done. This one means more. They're coming off a game where, they almost beat Boise State outright, and the next thing you know, they don't even cover. And they're down 28 points. I've never seen something like that in my life. A generational fold from Coach Ken in San Jose State. I'll go ahead and back him, and I'll back the squads at home, getting 7.5 points here against a ranked UNLV team. Sign me up. Sign me up. I'll swing it back around here. College basketball. I got one more play for you guys. St. Louis. Trying to pull it up right now too, but St. Louis, I believe their star Robbie Avila is still out, but they're catching some steam. Kind of weird. Was not expecting that, to be honest with you. But St. Louis tonight, +3 against Wichita State, who's undefeated still, an absolute wagon. This is a neutral site game, which is huge. We don't want to be fading Wichita State on their home floor where they go fucking nuts and care way too much about their games, and they probably should. And I want to back St. Louis coming off a win. St. Louis, nobody really wants to back them anymore after their star Robbie Avila goes down. They're coming off a pretty gritty win. They didn't cover against Loyola Marymount, but they did win that game by 6, and they showed enough for me to want to back them again after a slow start to the season. Before that, they had 2 consecutive losses in a row. Wichita's undefeated so far. The spread's coming down. St. Louis in a neutral site game with already a loss under their belt. Looking like a very sharp play late night, 10:30 p.m. on Peacock. Hope you have a subscription or else you can't watch this one. Spreads down from +3.5 to +3. I'll back St. Louis and the Billikens, even without their star, catching some steam against an undefeated Wichita team that, in my opinion, is due for a loss.
I'm in on that. Now that Robbie Veal is out of the fold, they're going to be a lot less trendy for the rest of the non-con season, at the very least. So now they're kind of bettable.
Hard work. There you go, dig that. I got you, brother. We got some message effects coming in from Seaborn saying, let's have a day. He's dropping a little crab emotes. I didn't even know you could do that in the chat, making those messages look pretty cool using some bits. Duke versus Arizona tonight. Duke ML. I don't know, man. I don't know what I like in that game. Thoughts, Jovan? Arizona Duke?
I mean, Arizona just got fucking pounded against Wisconsin. They gave up 100-plus points, which I know a lot of people were on Wisconsin in that game. Maybe you too, but I don't think many people expected Arizona's defense to be that terrible. And I can only assume after that performance that Duke at plus chick is going to be very enticing to click the button. So I will certainly not be doing that.
Caleb Love has some experience playing against Duke in his career. Although I'm not a big fan of his. He's got a high point square on Prize Picks. He probably carries Arizona to a big-time win tonight.
Yeah, he was gone awful in that game against Wisconsin, too.
Yeah, he's been bad.
Ghost.
He's been bad. All right, chat. A couple college basketball plays for me up on the boards. And obviously San Jose State, mandatory bet after they blew our cover last weekend and they were on bad beats. Has to be done. Has to be done. Let's go ahead and see what Jovan's cooking up. What's his last play? Wow, that one hurts.
Yeah, keep it in the A10 for you, Krabs. This is
man.
Playing Nevada, two teams that are coming off of pretty disappointing losses yesterday, of course, loser bracket part of the Charleston Classic. But I watched a little bit of the Nevada game because I was both looking at Nick Davidson and just kind of curious to see what those two teams were going to do. Vandy played really fast at the beginning of the game, and it was fine. Like they're kind of going band for band. The second they slowed it down, even with a small lineup, Nevada had no idea what to do on offense. Like VCU, very obviously, is going to play a lot slower, a lot more physical. They're going to play tough defensively. And while they may be a little small to handle Nick Davidson in there, so was Vandy. And they couldn't do a thing about it for most of that game. So I think this is a pretty tough matchup for Nevada on the offensive end. And they want to run early in the season when they've played teams that run. They run right with them. So they want to get out in transition. VCU is not going to allow that. I feel like that is perfect for VCU to get a little bounce back win here against Nevada. So I think the defense is going to be great. And I think offensively too. I mean, the guards for Nevada were absolutely pitiful off the dribble. So like Max Shulga, I don't know who is going to stop him. I think he's going to do whatever he wants off the bounce in this game, and their offense can do enough to win it while the defense locks in.
I thought that last night too. And they lost to Seton Hall, those sons of guns. God.
Yeah. Seton Hall at the very least are a little tougher on the defensive side.
Well, yeah, they don't score. They're going to do something. Anybody sweating out FAU right now watching this game, seeing the refs absolutely shaft us? Anybody else watching this, or is it just me? I mean, unbelievable call right here where the kid gets an and one and they call the foul on the floor. And it happened as he's shooting a layup and making it. I guess that's not an and one. Unbelievable. Gosh, man. It looks like Pega's coming in with some stats. Goots is right. Yesterday was a 1-1 day. Every single category on Surge went 50%. Prize picks 8-8. Book plays 5-5. 4-man went 2-2, and my 2-piece went 1-1. That's brutal. Brutal.
Wish I would have found a way to, bet with that trend, because it didn't help me yesterday.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's get to the prize pick squares. Enough bitching about FAU right now. Let's get to the prize pick squares. How about former Hokies legend, Dave Nagesson? More than 21 points and rebounds. He's got a matchup tonight that I absolutely love. And I'm seeing points in this Kansas State game tonight as well, Jovan. They're playing a pretty scrappy, good mid-major team in George Washington. I've been very impressed with. They've got some stars on that team. But what does GW do? What do we know about GW? We know GW likes to score. They have a good young coach, Baldy. He's got this program locked in. They're playing pretty good basketball right now. But they don't play defense, and they're small. I honestly think Kansas State's, I'm not saying they cover this game. I honestly would say I probably lean George Washington to keep it within the number. That spread's short. I think we all know it. Power 5 school against George Washington should probably be laying more than 10 points, right? I think that's a good thing for points in this game, and I think that's a great thing for Dave Nagesson tonight. His rebound square is high as heck. Well, I'll tell you why, because George Washington doesn't really have a center, and his points are also high as heck, and he's coming off of not his greatest game of all time. So I'll back Dave Nagesson, the veteran, the guy who's been around college basketball for like 6 years. Literally since I was at VT, this guy was there. And he's been at Kansas State the last couple of years and getting better every single season. He's impressive. And I think in a matchup where George Washington really doesn't have a dynamic big, you're going to see Dave Nagesson shine in a game with a high total, in a game with a short spread, where I think this game will be close, no blowout potential. I'll take my chances with Dave Nagesson for Kansas State here. The closer this game is, the better chances this has to hit, in my opinion. And then Peyton Pritchard. Look, what do we know about the Wizards and the Celtics when they play? Well, typically those games are weirdly close as well. And they go, they absolutely soar over. Not a lick of defense is played in these games typically, especially by the Wizards. And you see the Celtics put up a big number offensively. Looking at the spread trickle up for the Celtics in this game, I'm not really expecting the Wizards to be hanging around much. And that's kind of why I wanted to go with the backup, more of a role player in this one. Typically the Wizards will hang around, they'll put up some points, but that's a ginormous spread for a team on the road in the NBA. And the Celtics laying 16. I have a feeling we might be seeing the twos in this game. Guys like Hauser, guys like Peyton Pritchard getting plenty of shots up against a really bad Wizards team that I think has lost like 9 games in a row, 10 games in a row. The total in this game is high as heck, and for good reason. And Peyton Pritchard has not been great recently, but all of his prize pick squares are making it seem like he's going to be jacking threes, and the Wizards can't cover the fucking three-point line to save their life. So I'll take Peyton Pritchard after a couple bad games. He has not been getting the volume or the results that you'd expect out of a really good three-point shooter. I think tonight you see Peyton Pritchard go off and he drops 15-plus points.
I'm in on that.
Thought about taking his 3 points attempted, thought about taking a couple of his other squares. They all kind of look to me like he's going to go off and have a day today.
Sure.
All right.
Fading the whiz, man.
Yeah, it is what it is. Let's see what Jovan's cooking up on Prize Picks, and then we're going to get to the college football weekend preview, guys. So stick with us. Let's see what Jovan's cooking up for tonight. Shocker. Nick Nash.
Yeah, Nick Nash. Nick Nash is on the board, the midweek game. I'm taking him. It also helps. UNLV has allowed 10 completions of 30-plus yards to the slot this year, which, funny enough, out of the two of the three best teams they played, and I'm including in that Boise State, Kansas, and Syracuse, only one of those came in any of those games, or two of those, sorry. They were both in the Syracuse game. None of those to Boise State or in Kansas, which is kind of surprising. But they've been getting absolutely torched in the slot. Again, they've come out and publicly said, like in nationally televised games, they want to get Nick Nash the ball. Against this secondary, they're going to have plenty of opportunity to do that. So, yes, makes perfect sense. He's the GOAT. I will continue to bet on him because he is just that good and, frankly, should be a lot closer in the Heisman conversation than he is. Then Connor Hellebuck, 2.5 goals allowed, squares up. It's a crabby chart, I guess you could say. This is one of the rare spots. I don't like to fade the Pens at home when it's a very obvious time to do so. And I know that the Bolts won that game when they played the Pens a couple days ago, but it was a sketchy situation where they had to come back late and win in overtime. So now it makes a little more sense. The Jets are coming off of a weird little couple games where like they beat the Panthers in that game they had to have that we talked about earlier this week before starting this road trip. Whenever they do start these road trips, they start out with a really good defensive effort, and I think this is the perfect time to do it. The Pens have been ripping shots early in the season, but the last couple games they've kind of trickled off. I don't think that's an accident. I think they're starting to come back down to earth, and now's the time where you see Hellebuck after a pretty shaky couple like last 3 games where he's soared over this and the chart's super green. This is where you lock in. You get a really good Hellebuck performance in a low-scoring game because the classic Jets defensive masterclass.
Definitely a crabby square. I checked it out when you put it on the Sharp Report. I've actually already locked in the Sharp Report 4-man. I got ahead of it today. I wanted to go ahead and get ahead of the bumps. So I locked that in. I think I put the link in the outline as well. So Goodsey, I don't know if you're able to put that in the chat potentially, but we can get that Sharp Report 4-man up and moving for the people.
Let me get that up and moving real quick.
We can get that up and moving for the peeps. Oh, there it is. Goodsey's dialed. Shocker. Chat, if you want to tail the Sharp Report 4-man, the link has been dropped in the chat. We have hit one of these this week, I believe. Was that last week?
Yeah.
Not combining weeks.
2 days ago.
That was a couple days ago. Sure. Don't let us get hot. It might be too late. Love these 2 squares. Nick Nash, little square. Don't care. That guy goes off for 100+ every fucking game. He's him. And if he doesn't get 170 yards, we're not coming anywhere near close to covering that game. So we better fucking hope he does.
Yeah.
And then Connor Hellebuck, crabby looking chart.
I would love if he actually got involved in the first half. I don't know why they do this every game, but he always is just kind of fucking around for the first half. We'll have 30 yards at half, and you'll be like, oh shit, it's dead. Then first drive of the second half, 70 yards immediately. It's weird.
All right. Yeah, I mean, he's a fucking microwave.
Literally.
Right? Give him the fucking rock. All it might take is 2 drives to smack this. Come on, FAU. Hang around. This is exactly what FAU did yesterday, guys, where they went down early. They had to crawl back into it. I'm just hoping they have enough energy. They look tired as shit out there on the court. They're making turnovers, stupid plays. I hope they have enough energy to get to the end of this game because they are a second-half team. That I know. Let's hope they have some luck on their side here. No way they just called a foul on a 3-pointer for Drake. What are we doing, dudes? Oh.
Red.
It's dead. Take everything I just said, throw it out. It's dead. Fuck. What are we doing fouling him on a 3, bro? Is this their first game ever?
Might be.
Dudes. All right. Let's get to the college football weekend preview. Goodsey, I know you're ready to fucking hit that button for the college football preview graphic here. Run it. Let's hop into it. Rav, welcome back. Can we get some W's in chat for Ravington? And we've got some echoes. Pens? There we go. W's, gents. Rav, how we doing on this glorious Friday morning? And why are you in piss from the Steelers game?
I'm good. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited for ASU. I've kind of moved on from the Steelers game,
Sure.
but I was definitely really pissed last night. It was hard to fall asleep.
Sure. Do you have a play in that Arizona State game?
Yeah.
On the weekend preview or no?
It's not in the preview, no.
Okay. You want to let the people know, opening up with your read in that game?
I'm going to take just ASU on the ML. It's down to 3, which kind of scares me a little bit. But regardless, I think that they're a good look. It does scare me that BYU's off their first loss. But in all honesty, we've known that this was coming for BYU for a while now. They've been fraudulent all year. We've been trying to fade them all year. And there's been definitely a few games outside of the Kansas game where they should have lost. And they didn't until last week. I think that it continues. ASU seems like the better team. Their offense, I feel like it's going to punch them in the mouth. And I'm hoping that they can get it done because I'd love to see the Sun Devils in Dallas. And I think
these might be my 2 least favorite teams in college football, by the way.
Really?
Second and third. For one reason. It's because I keep losing money and fading this fucking team. They keep winning. Or at least I did early on in the season. I've kind of given up now. These teams have cost me coins, is my point. Especially BYU. More BYU than Arizona State. But Arizona State shafted me too. I don't want to let that get swept. They have.
They've been it's been surprising. I mean, they were picked last in the entire fucking conference. Now here we are.
I certainly lean Arizona State in this game, catching minimal steam here, and I don't care that BYU's coming off their first loss. We've seen teams like your Pitt Panthers who went on a legacy stretch, and once they lost a game, it kind of just started tumbling down and falling apart. Would not be shocked to see BYU's luck run out here, and you see something similar here in this game. Arizona State catching some steam. I would say a strong lean for me on the Sun Devils, laying 3 points here, but I had to give you some shit to get this segment started. Okay,
I can't believe you've been fading ASU, Krabs.
I was earlier on this season. I haven't in recent weeks, but they fucked me early on.
Yeah.
Plenty. Okay. And recently it's been just BYU fucking me. So, yeah, definitely more of a Sun Devils fan, and I hope you guys can pull it out. I'm rooting for your boys this weekend. Fuck BYU.
I'm so excited, dude. This is the first time they've been anywhere close to good since like 2015. I mean, when I was there, they weren't good at all.
Are you starting to think that maybe you were the problem?
Potentially.
People are talking.
Were you the problem at Arizona State? As soon as you leave the team, it turns into a dynasty, a wagon.
Fucking Herm Edwards ruined that fucking program. But now
he
was
a shit coach.
Coach.
He was a shit coach. All right. Well, enough beating around the bush here, gents. Why don't we go ahead and get right into it? We could start out the college football weekend preview. And if anybody here is new, if you don't know what's going on, we've got 5 straight bets, and we've got 2 prize pick squares each. All right. We've got a snooze fest, which is an under. We've got Mikey Overs, obviously some overs. We've got our favorite underdog, meat on tape play of the weekend, and then 2 prize pick squares each as well. Why don't we go ahead and hop right into the snooze fest for the weekend in college football? Go ahead and get it started out with a Michigan fate. Hey, big week for Michigan, right? They got that QB commit, number 1 prospect in the country, right? Going to Michigan, right? Big news. You're seeing Portnoy making videos, celebrating, sounding the alarms. Well, this is the exact perfect spot we want to fade Michigan's offense when they're getting fat, happy, and complacent. And to be honest with you, their offense right now just fucking sucks. Let's not kid ourselves here. Michigan's offense, not a strong suit of their team right now. They really don't have a QB, but they can play some defense. They're showing some heart. They're still hanging around. And I'm thinking, even though they might not have a chance to make the college football playoff at this point, obviously still a very important game. 5-5, still looking to make a bowl game. Michigan is, right? So I do think their defense is still going to stand on business and at least keep them in this game. And Northwestern is terrible. I think Northwestern might cover this game, though. But instead of getting cute back in Northwestern here with the points, I'm just going to go ahead and take the team total under for Michigan after this big news comes out of this QB commit going there. I know it doesn't have anything to do with the fucking play on the field in this game, but just mentally it does. Maybe a little fat, happy, and complaciveness from Michigan here with that big news. And Northwestern might catch them sleeping. That spreads down from 12.5 to 10.5. But instead of getting cute there, with this total being as low as it is, I'll take my chances with a team total under fading Michigan. I'm worried about Northwestern putting up some points and fucking over this under overall.
You can get down with that. That game is just a classic Big Ten game.
Yeah.
It's like
it should be very, very physical and boring, low scoring, toit. And I'm thinking Michigan, I mean, they're probably going to win. Are they going to win by 11 points? Fuck no. But instead of getting cute and backing a Musha team Northwestern, I'll just go ahead and take my chances with that team total under. All right. What about you, Jovan? Looks like you've got an under in a game with a pretty high total. Texas Tech, OK State.
Probably won't be as much a snooze fest as the Michigan Northwestern game. Probably not even close, with the total being quite literally double. But this is going to be a lot of run game for both these teams, really, but especially for Texas Tech against Oklahoma State. That's why Taj Brooks' rushing line is 134.5, which I think is the highest non-Genty line I think I've seen in college football this year. Because Oklahoma State's run defense is actually that bad. Like, I talk about TCU's a lot because it pisses me off because they're fucking terrible, but Oklahoma State's giving up 241 per game on the ground. There's only one team in all of college football, FBS we're talking, not just like power conferences, that is worse than that, and it is Kent State. So they are legit that bad, and Taj Brooks will probably do whatever he wants against this team, but that's going to milk clock. So, I think Taj Brooks can easily have 200 yards, but it's going to be a lot of long, drawn-out drives for Texas Tech. And then on the other side, you have the Alan Bowman revenge game. I assume he's still going to be in the fold. That's not going to go well. I'll tell you that. I think the biggest threat to this is him throwing pick sixes or fumbling in his own territory and giving Texas Tech easy field position. But I don't think that's going to go well. I think this is Ollie Gordon's last home game as well, so they're going to want to feed him. It's a miracle that he even stayed this long. I thought he was going to call it quits throughout the middle of the season after he got super banged up, but he stuck with the team through then. They're going to feed him last game in Stillwater, so the ground game, I think, is going to be a huge part of this game. And truthfully, for this game to soar over, I think you have to really attack the secondaries, which I don't think is going to be the biggest part of this game. So give me the under somehow, some way.
All right. And GG Florida Atlantic. Can I go ahead and close that game out, chat? Can I go ahead and close that one out? No need to watch this one anymore, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and close that one out. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Closed out. All right. Wow, Rav, involving the Hokies.
Yep.
That should go well.
I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. But I to be honest, I just don't know where the Virginia Tech offense is at right now. We've got Kyron Drones and Tootin both questionable off of a bye week, which is odd. And it's even more odd because they played against Clemson and really just were not effective at all. And I actually like the matchup for the Virginia Tech defense with the Duke offense right now. I feel like the VT defense, especially the D-line, is going to be able to get to Malik Murphy. They're going to be able to cause pressure. And, I mean, any solid defensive line has been able to get to Duke this year. So I'm definitely going to take this under. I really like it. And with the offensive concern for VT and the fact that their VT defense is honestly pretty good, I'm going to take under 46.
It should be good. They actually fucking suck, but they should be good. Yes, on paper. On paper.
Yeah.
Duke's defense is actually pretty solid. We know that by now. At least a little bit above average, a hair above average. And all jokes aside, the Hokies defense is just fine against a guy like Malik Murphy. I'm not worried about it. I like the under in this game. You better hope that Kyron Drones plays because he fucking sucks.
Yeah, what's going on? Like, why is he questionable?
Imagine giving Kyron Drones all your NIL money for the year, and then he does this.
Yeah.
Imagine.
9 of 20 last week with a pick. Fuck.
He is rat shit. Honestly, they have a better chance of winning this game or scoring if Colin Schlee's involved, the UCLA kid. So you better hope Kyron Drones plays hurt because he's been fucking bad. I like this under. I do. I like the Hokies as well. Why the hell are they laying 3?
Yeah, that was so odd.
I'm surprised they're not
laying
more, dude.
No.
Duke is rat.
They're 7-3. They're at home. The Hokies are rat.
Dude. Duke was, 3-point underdogs to CJ Bailey? And they're the same at home to VT. That was a little odd to me.
They were on the road at NC State.
I know. So give or take a handful of points. I feel like there's a little more than a handful of points between VT and NC State.
I don't know if there is, honestly, at this point. It's sad. Sad. It should be on paper. But after 2 back-to-back losses, man, I don't know.
I really thought you guys were going to pull out the Clemson game.
No. I don't want to talk about that.
Defeated no from Krabs.
Bro, I mean, I would have been pissed if the Hokies won that game, to be honest with you. So I'm happy we lost. They deserve to lose. They deserve to lose, and people deserve to lose their jobs. Plain and simple. Kyron Drones. He should not even be starting. We paid him all of our NIL money, and he's not even the best quarterback on the team. Colin Schlee's better. So you better hope Drones plays. And if he does, I think that under is a great look. I do. Let's go to some Mikey Overs.
Both teams off a bye. I love taking those unders.
Team is off a bye. And that has not helped the offenses so far this season in the NFL or in college.
No.
Let's go to some Mikey Overs. Let's get that fucking VT graphic off the goddamn screen. Let's go to some Mikey Overs. Okay. Arizona TCU over 59.5. This total's on the way up. Prize Pick Squares are making it seem like this is going to be a shootout. Great game, especially from TCU sides. We'll talk about that more in a moment. But just overall in this game, I'm seeing points. You've got Arizona coming in, off finally a win. Jesus, this team's been one of the biggest letdowns in college football, but they finally got a win and stopped the bleeding after 4 straight losses and not covering. And they need to win out, I believe, to make a bowl game. They're 4-6. They need to win 2 games in a row. I'm sure they know that. I'm sure that's a big talking point going into this game on the roads. And they do have a little bit of momentum, finally coming off a big-time win. I do think their offense and Fafita, McMillan, they show up. And against TCU's defense, respectfully, Jovan, I'm not asking for much, right? Then you look at the Frogs. And I do think the Frogs carry the weight here with the total and the over, to be honest with you. I know I was just gassing up Arizona there, but I like the Frogs' angle to score points here better. Arizona's defense is fucking dog shit. And looking at Prize Picks, Josh Hoover's looking like he's going to be the best quarterback of the weekend. The total's high. It's on the way up already. I'll back offense. I'll back points with both teams coming in off of unders in their last games. Arizona's been 4-6 to the over this season. And you'd expect way more out of them. I do think they didn't hear no bell, and their offense, Fafita and co, will show up. But TCU laying that fat number and also catching a point of steam as well tells me TCU routes Arizona. I'm picturing like a 42-30 type game here, right? Very high scoring. TCU probably barely covers, and they win by, 10 plus a little bit in that, threshold within, 10 to 20 points. They end up winning, and the game soars over. TCU carries, but Arizona does enough. McMillan does enough, and Fafita does enough. And with this total moving up, I grab this before it gets to 60. Open up at 57.5.
Yeah, I can get down with that. I don't know if we're expecting the same game script for that one, but I do like points. I'm very scared TCU is going to lose, to be honest with you.
No way.
This is the same exact game as Oklahoma State because they're same exact spread, just about TCU -11. And these are back-to-back games. This is like the biggest game on TCU's schedule or at least the biggest game that the students and the fans are excited for because there's a very large West Coast and Arizona contingent. So they've all been looking forward to this game. You got TCU coming off a bye after clinching bowl eligibility, and Sonny Dykes is acting like they just won the Natty with that. I'm a little concerned, I will say. So I do think Arizona scores. I can tell you Ted McMillan's probably finding the end zone multiple times. I think that's a normal square, so I will fire that up. But, yeah, I like points.
All right. 2 words, points. I'm in. Rav, thoughts?
I do like it. I like both.
Right.
I really hope that TCU can just fuck on U of A, though. I mean, well, actually, if U of A wins, then I like ASU chances. ASU's chances.
I think you want them to win.
Yeah, low key, I do.
I'm a little worried too, to be honest with you, because a lot of these moose shit Big 12 teams have come back from the bye and are all of a sudden ridiculously better. Like Kansas did that. They're the greatest team of all time now. Last couple weeks, Baylor came back from their bye and won like 4 straight. Arizona came back and they dominated Houston. It was Houston, but they looked miles better than they have for weeks. So I'm worried that maybe that's the case with them.
We'll see. I've got a team off the bye for my underdog too that I think can do that.
Ooh.
All right. Let's hear the next play, gents. What are we cooking up?
Mandatory play for me. Charlotte FAU over. This is the rare, I don't know how many times this happened, but double coach fired system, Krabs. Because Charlotte fired Biff Poggi, FAU fired Tom Herman. So they're both with interim coaches. The FAU situation is weird too because they brought back a guy they just fired. But aside from the points, I think this game is going to be absolute anarchy, especially like the quarterback situation is fluid. I think FAU, the guy who's been starting the last couple of weeks, is out, and they have a guy making his first career start who's also a running quarterback. Charlotte's defense has been god-awful really all season, but they've really struggled to defend running quarterbacks. Like, I think that's going to be a big-time problem for them, and FAU's offense looks better than it has in I mean, frankly, all season. It's the best matchup they've had all season, but a weird situation where I think both teams are going to be fired up, and FAU's offense probably needs to, I don't know, improve a little more in this because Charlotte's defense been absolutely terrible. So you would expect a majority of this over to be carried from how bad their defense has been. But this game, it's just going to find a way for a bunch of explosive plays against shit defenses with both teams just firing their coach. They're going to be fired up for this.
I almost wanted to bet Charlotte in this game, but you're talking about a double coaches fired system narrative. That's insane. So I'll probably stay off the sides there and maybe just, take your over in that game and back both teams to do well after both coaches got fired. I mean, have we ever had a situation like this before in college football in recent years? I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Probably not.
I was looking at it and I was like, shit, because I initially saw, I think Biff Poggi got fired later than Tom Herman did. So I was looking at it, I was like, okay, let me take FAU. Then a day later, I'm said, no, well, Charlotte's coach is also gone. So I don't know what to do with this game. Let me just take points.
Back both teams to do well, hitting the reset button. Not really an angle I love more than backing teams to do well after firing their coach. The players all hit the reset button. You blame the coach, right? You throw everything that you did shittily out the fucking window and you start fresh. Love it. I want to see this Army and Notre Dame over sell job. Does this remind you a little bit of the Notre Dame Navy game and that over?
It does, and I feel like it should. First of all, Army has played a laughable strength of schedule. I think that's actually the worst in FBS, 133rd. But when you think about it, I don't think Notre Dame has played that well of a schedule either. I mean, shit, they lost to fucking NIU. I mean, they've played horrible teams, Notre Dame, and have shown cracks in their run defense. And I think that it continues here. Navy was able to move the ball pretty well, at least as well as I thought they would be able to against Notre Dame. And I feel like Army is the more physical, better team. I do think that Notre Dame is going to be able to get their runs in, just like Jeremiah Love did against Navy. I feel like they're going to be able to get their points in. This is just going to be up to Army. And I feel like Army has been the better team than Navy all year. I was surprised to see this is 6 points under the Navy total. And I feel like Bryson Daly, off of getting healthy, off of a bye, can take this total over to 46.
Yep. Total's a little high. I mean, the reason why the total is probably not as high as the Navy game is because if you look at Army's games, especially recently, without Daly, who's been kind of hurt, right? Very, very low scoring. And I also think Army's defense is a little bit better than Navy's. Hate saying that, but it's true. They're just overall better on both sides of the ball, unfortunately. They have a better QB, better defense. I like the over in this game, just like I like the over in the Navy Notre Dame game. But I also kind of like Army to keep this one within a number as well. We saw how easy it was for Notre Dame to cover against Navy. You're going to see people taking that same angle, probably thinking, oh, well, pretty much the same fucking spots. Navy comes in undefeated, and Notre Dame absolutely spanks them. You're probably going to see people back in the Irish again in this spot. Spreads moving up accordingly. The bet splits look like that as well. People are back in the Irish. I wouldn't be surprised if after Navy got blown out by Notre Dame, we see Army hang around and cover this. Could be good for the over as well.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, Navy was hanging around, but they turned the ball over 6 times, and I think 2 or 3 times it was in the red zone.
Yeah.
You know, like they were making that a game if it wasn't for
they had one turnover all season before that game as well.
Yeah, they melted. Sucks. It carried into the next couple games too because they had a couple bad losses after that, which sucks. But hey, they're still going bowling. We'll probably have VT versus Navy in the Military Bowl once again this year in the rain. So it's usually how it goes. But I do like this over in this game. Rav, pretty sharp. And I like Army to cover. All right.
Let's go.
Let's move and groove. What do we got up next, Goosey? Some blowouts? You know, I'm legally obligated to have this bet up here. And I'm sure after hearing Rav on Coin Toss talk about it a little bit too, I think he can concur. And I'm sure Jovan can as well, hopefully.
No, don't put me in that.
Okay. Go ahead and give me Ohio State. I'll lay it for a responsible unit. No nukes here, but it has to be done. Look, guys, I don't make the rules. But if I'm seeing an undefeated, 5th-ranked Indiana team on the road that everybody's literally gargling this Indiana team. And it's a great story. And they just paid their coach, right? So he's going to be coming in extra fat, happy, and complacent, the former JMU coach. He just got paid. Deserves it. Deserves every penny. Great coach. Great program now. They have their guy. Just not tonight. Or not this weekend when they play. And that spread moving around like crazy, moving towards Ohio State, going to 14, moving back. I don't give a shit. This game's not going to be close. This is the complete regression game for Indiana here on the roads. They're going to get their asses kicked by an Ohio State team that already has a loss. This is my national champion. I think Ohio State's due is ma. If they want to win the Natty, they probably got to win this game too, and I think it's going to be a statement win. That spread is 10.5 for a reason. I don't care if it's been moving up and moving back. That's still a significant number against an undefeated team that's everybody's favorite Cinderella story. Mandatory fade, 1 unit responsible. Indiana, the luck they've had this season, they don't deserve more than a 1 unit fade.
Can respect it. I'll be on the other side, but I will respect it.
Wow. Okay.
I love it. I mean, obviously, I love it, but
yeah. We'll see how it goes. Battleberg. Shit. And Drake, after chat got me back interested in this FAU game, Drake is now up 10. I don't know what the fuck chat was talking about this being a ball game again. Not even close.
Jeez.
Why did I pull this back up? All right, let's talk about Mizzou. Wow. I did not expect that on the fucking card either, dude. What are we doing taking Missouri?
Yeah, I got to do it this week because, frankly, I'm not going to call any of the teams or a couple of the teams they've played the last couple of weeks like horrific or like horrendously tough matchups because like Oklahoma's not good, but defensively they're a challenge. South Carolina's decent defensively, obviously a challenge. Bama, they're playing with Drew Pine. It is what it is. But like, this is the chance they have to kind of settle in for a week. And I think they take their chance. They have a chance next week too against Arkansas. But after their kind of gauntlet of a schedule, which part of that is playing some tougher teams, part of that's playing with Drew Pine at quarterback, they've been going through it for the last couple of weeks. Now they get to go on the road. Yes, it's a tough place to play in Mississippi State most years, really. November 23rd in Mississippi State with them sitting at 2-8, it's really not. But against this defense, I think this is where you get a Missouri game where Brady Cook, assuming he still plays, which is looking like the case, he's going to look fine. The run game can get established, whichever one of the running backs ends up being. And I was a little interested with as questionable as Mizzou has looked the last handful of weeks. Again, Drew Pine, a big part of that, but they're going 5.5 to 8 on the road against a team who Sneagley has been covering against a lot of the bigger teams they've played. They just covered in a game against Tennessee, both in the first half and the full game, Rav. They covered against Texas A&M with a big spread. They covered against Georgia earlier in the year. A couple of those games are at home. So, like, they've been competitive against much better teams. Missouri is obviously not that. I think Mizzou comes out and they drop 40. Have a really good offensive game. So I'll take them.
Nothing you said is wrong. Mississippi State might not be winning, but they are covered for their last 5 games.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, you're backing backup QB who's moose shit, who everybody hates, who I honestly think is fine and consistent enough with some steam.
No,
I don't hate it.
Brady Cook's playing.
Oh, Cook is playing.
Yeah, he's played the last week, right?
Yeah, I know he played last week. I don't know why I thought I heard you mention Drew Pine playing in this game. That's
No. I was saying like the last handful of weeks they've been either playing some tough teams or Drew Pine's been playing. So like they've been going through it for a couple of weeks. Now it's like their first, like, they get to come out and play a dog shit team, dog shit defense, mostly healthy. So like, I want to back them now.
I picture the scene in Talladega Nights when Will Ferrell cuts off his cast when he's driving the NASCAR, right? And he's like fucking screaming in pain and stuff. That's what I picture Brady Cook last week playing after a broken wrist. What the fuck is he doing?
Pretty much.
Although I talked about this,
Should have won that
it's
game,
not like he's going to the NFL. He should have won that game. I agree. And you know what? That's some serious heart for Brady Cook coming back from that injury. Most kids would probably pack up shop and call it, and then probably head to the XFL draft, right?
We can sit here and call him a ratchet player all we want. Can't say he doesn't have heart. He's got that.
Heart. I respect the fuck out of it. Making me like this play more and more. Play that much. Won't be on the other side, especially after hearing that sell job. Rav, what do you like about Cal? I'm sure Javon's blued you right now.
Backing Javon's Golden Bears here. After they got absolutely demolished last week, at least what it looked like on the box score. They honestly didn't play too bad, and they just ended up abandoning the run in Syracuse. Now they get to go back home and play a team that just won outright as a 21-point dog. Stanford beat Louisville. Now they are 14-point favorites against that Stanford team. Cal is way more talented than Stanford. Cal's looking for their 6th win of the year, which is bowl eligibility. They are at home. They have the better skill players, better rosters overall. I think this is a perfect situational letdown spot for Stanford. and a spot for Cal where they can bounce back with a big win and get their 6th win for bowl eligibility.
I love it. This is a crabby play. Stanford did something for the first time in 2 months in their last game. Cal's coming off a brutal loss when they were minus 10.5 point favorites. They're home. And they're catching steam as well against Stanford coming off that big win.
Yeah,
Sign me up. Sign me up.
I wish it wasn't
TBD if I'll tail, but
in the get
definitely
nice.
like Cal.
Yeah,
definitely like Cal. You're saying you wish you put that in the get nice?
I wish I could.
What are you gonna put minus 600?
Yeah, no, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Okay. Yeah, I like the Cal Bears. Jovan, any thoughts on your bullies before we move here?
Yeah, I think they're going to win. I don't like taking favorites around 14, but it's hard to say. It's a dumbass play at fading Stanford after that ridiculous win against Louisville, which they didn't even win. Like Louisville gave it to them in about 10 different ways. So, I mean, it's hard to not fade them after that. It is a big rivalry game, though. So, like in my gut, I feel like there's going to be some weird shit that happens, but it doesn't necessarily mean Stanford covers.
My weird contrarian brain thinks rivalry game and Cal's up to 14. Holy shit. That's weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Devil's advocate type. That's fucking weird.
I'll give you a counterpoint to that. I'm pretty sure they've beaten the piss out of Stanford for a couple years now, even when Cal has not been very good.
Let's check the Carfax.
Let me check to make sure.
I mean, yeah, Cal's won 4 of the last 5 years. They've covered the last 3. Sure. Good point. I mean, Stanford's fucking terrible. Let's not act like they're good.
No, they're bad.
They're bad.
They're bad.
Yeah, they're bad. All right. I like the play. We got Max Hacks bets coming in, dropping a resub. Rad, it's ASU this weekend, he says. Okay.
Yes, Max Hacks bets. Let's fucking go, dude.
Sure. Follow from Carsey 2K, from Gladrix. The big bat coming in resubbing. Archie Gamble's coming in resubbing. Almost 2 years. Love to see it. Sumo Nasty resubbing as well. Desert Punk. Cannot let these subbies get swept. We appreciate you guys. And all the message effects, all the emotes. I saw somebody dropping a crab emote in here earlier. Appreciate you guys. W's. Yeah, FAU, sorry-ass team. I think they might have used up all their energy last night in that comeback. They had no juice. They were gassed today. Turnovers, not looking like the same team. That's on me. Ship that. And guys, yes, after college football here, we can take a peep at the college basketball board. I've seen you guys bitching in the chat. I know you guys want another day game winner. We can take a peep after college football here. Okay? Let's keep moving and grooving. Enough of the blowouts. Can we talk about something a little bit more crabby? Maybe some upsets? Let's talk about some upsets. Oh, that just doesn't feel right.
Oh my god.
Someone else go first. I don't have it in me right now.
Dude.
Jovan, start us off, man.
This whole board is
have it in me.
Ugly.
This is an ugly ass board.
I don't have it in me right now. You go first.
I can't believe you even put that on the board, Krabs. Can't believe you even did that. But I like it. I'll start. When everybody is saying the BYU party's over, I'm not there yet. Especially because people look at this at first glance, I guess, and have said the line is odd, just like we have done with every single BYU game this season. I agree. I think it's very odd. I think BYU should be much bigger dogs because this is the same team that went to Baylor and they were bigger dogs. They went to UCF and they were bigger dogs, both at 3.5. And you're telling me after we finally get a loss and the BYU party is over, this is the best team out of the crop by far they have faced in this time span that we've been saying BYU is so fraudulent and they're never going to amount to anything in the long scan of the season. And now we're starting to get Arizona State to the Big 12 championship talks. They're going to Tempe in a massive game where Arizona State's back ranked. You're telling me they're not getting any more points than a backup quarterback did in Orlando, or really a Baylor team when they're at their lowest point earlier in the season, I think lost 3 in a row, including that game to start Big 12 play. That's odd to me. So just looking at the line, this is one of the rare times where I feel like BYU is getting a little bit of line respect, which I think is a little odd. But they also, they've had trouble with these teams that are built on speed quite a bit. And like Kansas is one of those examples last week. Like Devin Neal kind of tore him to shreds. Jalen Daniels made a couple plays with his legs. Arizona State's more of just a line up and punch in the mouth type team. So like that's a team where BYU can match their physicality. It's much less of a unique matchup for their defense. So I think their defense really hasn't been the problem all season. It's just kind of the inconsistencies of the offense. Defense is going to match up well. I think this is a game that BYU wins. Party's not over yet. And is a system play. Anytime there's been a new team in the fold in the Big 12 talking about their path to the Big 12 championship, they've lost that week. It's been like West Virginia started the shit last week because they were excited about Mark Yule, and then Garrett Green ended up starting to lose. Texas Tech did the same thing a couple weeks ago. Just always happens, and I'm going to continue to do it.
Good luck. Surely BYU pays out again at plus chicken.
Yeah.
Rab, you want to kick his ass or what?
I'm gonna send you the most fuck you message tomorrow, Jovan.
Hey, I hope you do. I hope you do.
Somebody's
I mean,
winning.
I hope you cover. Like, I'm not gonna take the -3. I'm gonna take the ML. And I'm gonna eat the juice.
Okay.
Fair.
That's not a great sign for Arizona State backers here now from the alum. Not even confident enough to back his team on the spread. Fuck. All right. We'll see how it goes. I feel like that might have been a personal play right there for the upset alert. That one might have been personal. Fade Arizona State. Let's hear about OK State. Plus 3.5. Because I'm going to need to hear a great sell job on this one. Jesus. Plus 3.5. And Rab's gone.
Say it again.
OK State plus 3.5.
Yes. Sorry. I thought you were gonna do yours first, Krabs. My bad.
No, you're good. I don't want to talk about UVI.
So yeah, I couldn't. I don't know if you could find anyone that wants to back the corpse that is the Oklahoma State Cowboys more than the guy who had the Oklahoma State Cowboys in his playoff this year. That was me. Mike Gundy off of a bye has been pretty good this whole year. Or I'm sorry, in his career.
His whole career. Yep.
And this is a very veteran team that is winless in the Big 12 so far. This is their senior day. A very high-scoring game, you would assume, unless it gets a little low-scoring. I think that they can – all the veterans can get up and try to win at least one game on their senior day at home. This is their last home game too. To cover the plus 3.5. I thought the line was a little odd because Texas Tech seems like a better team. And furthermore, Texas Tech is in a spot where they're at 6-4. They can't clinch the Big 12 championship. They can't make a bowl. They've already made a bowl. They're in like the small spots where, maybe it's just like a leisure spot going down to Stillwater. Well, they're going to face a team that's hungry for a win. They have not had a single win in the Big 12 yet. So give me the Oklahoma State plus 3.5. This is the last time I can back my pokes. And furthermore, Joey McGuire is really bad as a away favorite. 0-3 in his career and 0-3 straight up.
How about that for a nog?
I think you sold me on 2 furthermore usage in the sell job.
He also said he expected to be high scoring unless it's low scoring. Smart. But it covered both sides there, Ralph.
Well, Javon had the under. I saw it's going to be windy. It's going to be high scoring, but
unless it's low scoring, it should be pretty high scoring. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a
that's up there.
Spot,
that's
though.
up there with Trent's quote on here a couple weeks ago. Jeez,
dude.
Kind of like it though. It's I can tell you, Mike Gundy is probably on his way out, but the last thing he probably wants to do is go winless in Big 12 play because it's a big time stain, and they're going to Deion's place next week. So
yeah,
safe to say they're probably not winning that game. This is his last shot.
And Texas Tech already has clinched a bowl game. What the fuck do they have to play for right now?
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing.
I guess you could say that every year because they're the pinnacle of mediocrity in the Big 12.
They're off
They're
a
the
bye
Hokies in
too.
the Big 12. Yep.
Yeah.
They're off a bye as well.
Both teams are off a bye.
Okay. I mean, I'll be on the pokes with you, Rav. I just had to give you shit.
Let's go. Yeah. Well, I mean, I only said that because Javon thought there'd be less points. There's going to be points, but it still sounded like shit.
There will be points. This total's at 65.5, but there probably won't be 70 points, right? Probably more like 50, 55.
Yeah, love a little 50 guys here.
Am I allowed to decline a sell job and we just move?
I mean, I can give you somewhat of it because I'll be on UVA plus 10. Yeah. I want to hear a Krabs sell job.
I'm not moving until you give sell job.
Well, we got some subbies we got to go over here first. We got Swoller Bear coming in, resubbing, tier 1. Love to see that. Could that be Swoller Bear's first sub? What else can we talk about before I have to give the sell job? SMU 9-1. They come into the ACC. They think they run the place. Give me a fucking break. They're about to learn their lesson. They might lose this game outright. They come in on this crazy hot streak, a bender. UVA comes in the exact opposite. I mean, just playing like fucking moose shit besides somehow beating Pitt outright. Riddle me that one, Rav. We'll save that combo for another time. But besides that, they haven't won a game in the last 2 months. This UVA team is bad. But what have I told you guys about this UVA team all year and even before the season? They do have a solid young QB. And there's been plenty of mistakes made by Calandria over the last year and a half since he's been starting and taken over. But this is the spot to back him. And I hate to say it. It literally pains me with these words coming out of my mouth. This is the time to back Calandria. He just got benched in that last game. He could not have played worse in that last game against Notre Dame. But come on, that's against Notre Dame. This is a different ballgame here. This is SMU. Those teams are not comparable in my opinion. I think Notre Dame is night and day better than SMU. SMU's had the easiest fucking schedule I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh, they're coming in off of wins against BC, Pitt, Duke, Stanford. That's fucking awesome. Rav, you, me, and some of your fraternity buddies and Jovan could probably go out there and fucking keep that game close against those opponents. Give me a break.
They probably should have lost 2 of those games, too. They definitely should have lost against
They've had luck on their sides, right? They've had luck on their side for sure.
That BC effort from them last week was pitiful. They got very fortunate in the end of that game.
Nerfy Chad, you're asking the right questions. Yes, I will unfortunately be betting this. I will. It has to be done. Spreads down from 10.5 to 10. Doesn't matter too much, but UVA, I mean, look, they know they have a spanking incoming next week against the Hokies, who they're going to need to get some anger out after the season they've had, and that's typically what they do in the last week of the season in a night game. UVA is going to need a fucking Christmas miracle to win that game. They know that if they want to go bowling, they got to pull off a miracle upset probably in this game. At home. Could be their last chance. They're not winning week 12 or week 13, whatever next week is. They're not winning that shit.
They might.
No, they don't win those games. There's one thing I know, it's that they don't win those games. But SMU, looking like an easy play against a UVA team that's been struggling recently. I'll take my chances with the double-digit points on the spread there and go about my day. And like Nerfy Chad said in the chat, it's a win-win for old Krabs in this spot. UVA comes through and covers, or they don't, and I get to laugh and make fun of them.
Hey, you know what I'm gonna say, Krabs? Just like I stood on business saying Florida was going to make a bowl game. Not they have yet, because they still got to beat FSU, but that was mainly on the fact that they were going to beat one of LSU and Ole Miss, and they did. SMU is going to end the regular season with 2 losses.
Wow. Who do they play next week?
Cowboys and Bears. It's one of the two.
Okay.
It's one of the two.
Could have known.
I think this is the best spot for it, but I will be taking Cal. That's like the spot on their schedule that was second to taking them against Miami.
You're secretly hoping Cal doesn't cover this week.
Secretly, I want them to win by like 7. I don't want them to blow the shit out of Stanford, because I want them to come into Texas just like they did against a much shittier team last year and dominate.
Joe God said you'd think Krabs went to UVA the way he bets their sports. I don't know if I've had a worse insult than that. Also, I pretty much respectfully told Jovan to go fuck himself yesterday when he had UVA on the card. What are you talking about?
Did do that. People forget.
What are we talking about here? I was so pissed off at Jovan yesterday for putting that moose shit team up there, as I do the same thing the next day. Like it matters. Doesn't matter. But come on. Don't act like I'd be betting UVA or backing them every fucking game. Come on. No. All right, let's move. Let's groove. Yes. Let's get these nasty fucking dog shit teams off the screen. Can we? Although all those bets are probably going to hit or at least go 2-1. Okay. Wow, it has to be done. Can I get one more fucking punch in before I lose the fucking fight or lose the war against Colorado? We'll see. Look, it's a must bet here. You got 8-2 Colorado, who has a horseshoe lodged so far up their ass, they can't lose. This team is so fucking lucky. You got Travis Hunter announcing that he's going to the NFL. You've got rumors of, maybe Coach Prime following Shador to the NFL. I think those rumors are 1,000% true. You think Coach Prime gives a fuck about Colorado or the other players on that team? It's pretty clear by his actions he gives a fuck about 2 things, and that's his 2 sons on that Colorado team. Once he's gone, we'll see if he sticks around. I'm willing to bet he doesn't. But let's talk about this Kansas-Colorado game here. You got Colorado coming in on Fuego. All right, look, fading them on the team total, whether there was some luck or not, it was a moose shit read and it was a moose shit bet. Okay, whether there was luck on Colorado's sides, that team total is probably still going over with how talented that team is. But let's talk about Kansas. Kansas has been pretty impressive in recent weeks. What do we know about Kansas? Well, about 2 or 3 years ago, out of nowhere, Kansas became a pretty solid football team. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was a new coach that came in. Somebody could jog my memory, but Out of nowhere, Kansas went from being literally one of the worst Power 5 football teams in the country to being kind of average, at least solid, right? And now they've got two studs, in my opinion, right? You got Jalen Daniels, fake Jalen Daniels from the Commanders as their QB, who's been getting much better as the season's gone on, as he's gotten healthier. Pretty clear that he was banged up early on in the season. He was fucking terrible. And they've also got a stud running back in Devin Neal. What do we know about Colorado's defense? Well, they can give up some yards on the grounds, right? They've got some pretty solid corners, as we know, right? Some NFL corners on that team. But they can give up some runs on the ground. So it does make football sense a little bit here, and that's probably why the spread is this short. But Devin Neal's going to run all over Colorado in this game, and I think Kansas has a chance to pull off an upset here at home. They've been on fire recently. Typically don't like backing teams who've won 3 of their last 4 games or have been on a typical streak like this, covering like it's their fucking job. But at home, getting 2.5 points against one of the hottest, best teams in college football, where if they win this game, they're probably going to their conference championship. A lot of pressure. And Kansas, the way they've been playing, it was like their season was dead. But recently, they've covered 4 games in a row. They've won 3 of their last 4. They didn't hear no bell. I'll back Neal and co. I'll back Daniels and co. to keep this game at least within fucking 3 points, a field goal, or potentially win outright. Because in my opinion, this is a massive letdown spot for Colorado with all the news going on, with the QB coming in soon, with coach potentially leaving, with their star player going to the NFL. A lot of distractions this week for Colorado. I'll put my coins on Kansas.
Yeah, I will too. I'll be right there with you. It's not even a Colorado thing. It's a Kansas thing. But Colorado, I don't know. They've been really good over the last couple of weeks dealing with physical teams, because that's really who they've played for the past 2 months. They've been playing teams whose identity is to go out there and punch you in the mouth on both sides of the ball on both lines. Kansas has been really good, especially in their couple of games since the bye week, but even like at times before that, using physicality against you, because they're built on speed. Jalen Daniels is built on speed. Devin Neal's built on speed. Luke Grimm, Quentin Skinner, all the same things. So, like, I think, again, this is magic versus magic. Who's going to die first? I don't think it's Kansas. So I'll be in right with you.
I also think that the Jayhawks were just insanely unlucky, especially in one-score games the first half of the year.
A little bit.
Yep, they were on that graphic with the Hokies, the what-if graphic, where if every one-score game that you were in flipped the other way, you're ranked top 10. Yeah, they were on there with the Hokies. Yep. Kansas a better team than their record shows. Kansas, at least people are record shows. At least, and we got echoes.
Huge. Back.
W's.
Sorry.
W gets. All right, let's hear about UConn here. Jovan, what do you like about the Huskies?
Talk about one of the more interesting spots I think I've seen all college football season. It's this one, because ironically enough, Syracuse was the 10-point underdog, 10.5-point underdog last week when they went over to Berkeley. They won outright, and frankly, that game was a lot more of a destruction than the final score shows, with it just being a one-possession game. They dominated a lot of that game. Cal had really bad turnovers. The Syracuse defense actually played kind of well. And now they come back to host in a UConn in an old Big East rivalry before hosting your favorite team, Krabs, the Miami Hurricanes, next week. So this is what I would call a sleepy spot. And UConn is coming off a bye, which I don't usually back those. I like fading those more than I like backing them. But for them specifically, I mean, they're playing pretty well before the bye week. They needed a healthy bye week because they're getting really banged up at the quarterback position on both lines and the defense too. So they're coming back a little healthier than they were to finish the game against UAB that, frankly, they should have won by more 2 weeks ago. Now they come in. I don't even know who's going to start a quarterback. I don't think it really matters. This feels like we get a Kyle McCord disaster class game. This kind of feels like one of the games where Syracuse is going to come out super flat. This is an 11 a.m. or noon kick. UConn's a big physical team. The defense actually played a lot better than a lot of people have expected, and their defense and secondary is really, really damn good. I think they lean on that in this game, and I think they might even be in conversations to win this game.
That's crazy. So that UConn ML and UVA ML parlay that you sent is actually real?
Yeah, it is. Very real.
Well, if that hits, you're him.
Might be.
Him. All right, UConn back in the Huskies. Always a delight to back them on the gridiron, huh? They're a really good program.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Big East football.
Christ football on a bike. Well, we'll see how it goes. I can't deny that I don't like it. I mean, I do. I like the play. That team is just fucking new shit. But they don't need to win.
Good, Krabs. They've been kind of sneakily good.
Well, I mean, look, I like their coach now. Their program's been much better in recent years than they used to be. They used to be actually the worst team in college football.
Isn't it like Jim Mora, right?
Yeah, Jim Mora.
Him.
Voted.
Changing the way that team operates. And look, they don't got to win. They just got to keep it close. Keep it within 10. Do your job. All right. Ohio State, huh, Rav?
Yep, you kind of touched on it, Krabs. I'll add on a few more things. First of all, just the teams that Indiana has played does not compare both offensively and, I mean, you could maybe argue that Michigan compares defensively to Ohio State, but that's it. It was very telling, the Michigan game, that Indiana would potentially struggle with better teams when it was the first true top 20 defense that they played, and Indiana was held to 3 rushing yards on 24 attempts. And then on top of that, the passing game could not get going, and they really barely snuck out of that game. I think it's going to be the same thing here on offense for Indiana, except the difference between Michigan and Ohio State is Ohio State's offense is not only competent, it's borderline elite. I mean, they've been playing so well with Quinshon Judkins. The running game has been incredible. Will Howard hasn't even been bad. He's had no turnover-worthy plays the last 3 games. The talent level, the talent disparity between Indiana and Ohio State is substantial. I mean, 2/3 of the Ohio State roster are blue chip prospects. You've got maybe 8 at max, 4 or 5 stars on Indiana. So this is a coaching advantage. It's a player advantage. It's a situational advantage where they haven't played a team that's nearly as good as Ohio State. This is Ohio State minus 10.5, minus 11.5, minus 12.5, 13. I don't care. I don't hate Indiana. You know, I got a lot of flack for that graphic from my friends that was posted yesterday. Oh, you hate Indiana. Ohio State's not that good. I don't hate Indiana. It's been a great story. But this is a man amongst boys game.
You can tell your buddies that I fucking hate Indiana. I hate their guts. Fuck them. Fuck that team.
You can actually look in the mirror and you think Ryan Day is a better coach than Kurt Signetti?
Dude, I don't think it's like that much of a difference. I think the assistants are far better. I would take Chip Kelly over most offensive coordinators. I would take Jim Knowles over every defensive coordinator.
Well, Ohio State is due this year, and I do think Ryan Day gets his and wins a natty, but I don't think he's a good coach. I think that's just based off of raw talent and boosters and paying good players to come in and play.
Yeah,
the talent they have on the field.
Defensive all time.
Yeah, the talent they have on the field is undeniable. Let's hope it shows up this weekend against the luckiest team I've seen in my entire fucking life. The funniest part about this whole thing is that 2 or 3 years ago when BTL was starting up, I was letting people know about Curtis Rourke. I was telling them about this kid on Ohio slinging the ball in the MAC. I was saying, this kid, watch out for him. He's a stud. He probably won't be at Ohio long. Next thing you know, he's carrying Indiana's fucking offense. I know he's missed a couple games due to injury, but the backup filled in just fine. Curtis Rourke is him.
Yeah.
He's him. So I'm not surprised to see the success from Indiana. Am I surprised to see them undefeated and have the ball bounce the way it has for them this season? Obviously, they're the luckiest team I've ever seen. They're luckier than Colorado. But
what luck have they had, though, Krabs? Like, they've been
the
blowing
ball has
teams
bounced
the fuck out.
The ball has bounced their way every fucking time it's even bounced.
Like, if it's bouncing their way, then they win by 3 touchdowns instead of 4. Like, the only close game they had was Michigan.
They shouldn't have even won the Michigan game. They got owned. And the only reason why they did is because Michigan doesn't have an ounce of offense in them.
I mean, up 2 touchdowns at half. Michigan didn't score a touchdown until the 4th quarter. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm just saying, it feels like in my brain, I made the tweet too, that this is the same thing we were talking about with TCU when they were massive underdogs against Texas in that game a couple years ago in their natty run year. And it was the sharpest play maybe of all time to fade them. And what they do, they went to Austin and won outright, especially after BYU. Their magic run just ended last week. It feels a little easy to be going to Ohio State and saying their run for Indiana is going to end too, which is why there's a shit ton of people back in Ohio State this week.
Indiana might have the easiest schedule I've ever seen in my entire life created in this conference.
It's nuts.
I do.
Actually the easiest schedule I've ever seen in my life. somebody, this is an inside job. Somebody got paid or somebody works for the athletic department in Indiana and the NCAA and got their foot in the door, and they got a great schedule set for this season. Let's go through their schedule real quick, briefly.
I did this
It's
on the
absolute dog shit. Maryland, Charlotte, UCLA, Western Illinois. Didn't even know they had a football team. I just thought they had a basketball team. Washington, they're moose shit this year. Nebraska at home. That's probably their toughest game this season. Give me a fucking break. Northwestern on the roads. Ooh, that's a tough one. Michigan at home. Well, good thing it was home, and good thing Michigan fucking sucks and doesn't have a QB yet. Michigan State. That is the easiest schedule I've ever seen in my entire life. They better be beating those teams by 28, 21.
I mean,
They better be winning those games by a ton of points.
I don't know. We can blame them for the schedule though. Like they have the two teams that were in the national championship last year on their schedule. Like they don't.
We know those two teams suck.
This year, it's not like they can control that when you set the schedule a year or two ahead of time. Like, what are they going to do about that?
Well, I mean, what gets me is everyone likes to say, "Oh, it's not the Indiana offense. It's actually the defense that's been really good. It's the defense that's been stepping up. They've played not a singular good offense in that entire schedule."
I'll tell you what they have to thank for their undefeated record. It's Curtis Rourke throwing 70-yard bombs down the field and their wide receivers turning it into Odell Beckham. That's what they have to thank for that 10-0 record. If I have to see one more 50-yard pass that's thrown right on the fucking hands, the best ball thrown of the fucking week from Curtis Rourke down the field, I'm going to explode. Enough is enough. Ohio State secondary is not allowing that shit. Give me a break. They got 7 NFL defensive starting NFL defensive players on their team.
Literally.
They're stacked. Get it done. Get it done, Ohio State. And you better beat him down because Ryan Day, he needs a statement win. Keep that fucking job secure. And if he doesn't get it done this season, they should fire him, by the way. If he can't get it done with this roster and the other opponents around the league, they should get rid of him and start now. Right? A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. A lot of pressure for the defense, too.
Hey, Indiana's got some pressure, too. And I love fading a coach after getting the bag.
Yes.
Mission accomplished. Right? Mission accomplished.
Indiana thinks they're set.
Dude, Kurt Signetti is like the complete opposite of a guy who thinks he's set. That's a guy who
mission accomplished.
That's a guy who wants it.
He's a great coach, man. God damn it.
Great coach, dude. That's such a Krabs guy coach. I'm shocked we're at this point right now.
Bro, I mean, I don't like him because he came from JMU. I'm legally obligated to root against that guy. He's a great coach, though.
That's where it is.
Great coach, though. Yep. Has to be done. We'll see. Do you at least agree that number's fat?
No.
Yes.
It's not fat. 10.5? Dude.
What do you think it should be at?
I mean, yeah. What do you think the number should be?
I mean, I was expecting probably 7.5.
Yeah, me too.
8.5. At least single digits.
How would we get there?
At least single digits. You know?
How would we get there, dude? I just don't see that.
All right. Number's not weird, chat saying. Okay. Well, we'll see how this game plays out. We'll have a lot of eyes on this one. Indiana, Ohio State. Battleberg. All right, let's get to the prize pick squares. And guys, let's absolutely power through these. We'll just go ahead and rapid fire these puppies. And we can go ahead and Noah's Ark this bitch and go over both of ours. And then we'll pass the torch. Josh Hoover, more than 2.5 passing touchdowns. Jovan, at least I could probably get you involved in this. Read it out charts. Already talked about the over in this game, obviously. Arizona versus TCU. I'm not expecting to lick a defense. Maybe it's square. I don't care. And Josh Hoover has not thrown 3 touchdown passes since Nam. He will this weekend. And he's going to carry TCU probably to a cover, to be honest with you, in an extremely high-scoring game with a very read-it-out chart. Thought about maybe taking Jack Becht. Thought about maybe taking Savion Williams. I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'll cut the shit, and I'll just back Josh Hoover, who I think has an insane game this weekend against a terrible Arizona defense. And then Jacoby Criswell, and yes, that is how you spell it. I'm taking him to throw a pick. He hasn't thrown a pick in 6 weeks. I know he hasn't been the starter fully, this season for UNC, but he's been the starter for the majority of the season, at least recently. And he's got a read-it-out chart. Has not thrown a pick in 6 games, like I said before. But he's going against a relatively stingy Boston College secondary that's had some injuries. But, Boston College, obviously, this game's very important for them. They're home. They've lost 4 of their last 5. And after a good start to the season, their QB quits on the team. I love the spot for BC here. I probably will be on BC. But I do think BC, a team who, by the way, has top 25 in interceptions per game in college football. They're averaging over a pick a game. which is good because our guy Criswell here is throwing a pick in this game, and he hasn't thrown one in 6 weeks. So Boston College, they're going to stand on business. They're going to force an interception at home and probably even pull off an upset here and keep their bowl hopes alive when they have some added new motivation with their QB walking away from the team last week.
Yeah, you should like this too, because last couple weeks, really, whenever they face a good running back, they just play goal line defense and they say throw on us. You're not running on us. So that's
beat
why
us through the air. Take out Hampton. Take out Hampton from this game as best you can, and make Criswell beat you because he's not good, and you're going to see him make a mistake.
What did Hampton have? 250 or some shit last week.
Love that. Yes.
A little unrelated. Did you guys see the Grayson James touchdown square?
Russian
He's at
receiving
a
touchdown?
regular 1.5, and the chart is red as fuck. It's not on my preview, but
I did see that. Yes, Boston College's QB. My fault. The kid filling in for Castellanos.
Yeah.
I almost put that in here. That was honorable mention. I thought about it. I did. And I do like that more than 1.5 passing touchdowns for Grayson James. And I like BC a lot this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good find. All right, let's move and groove. Rav, what are you cooking up over there, huh?
I just have two main ones. Once Goots gets them on. I know the first one. It's basically Quinshon Judkins rush yards. I mean, this is just a meat on tape play. He's been chugging for the Buckeyes. I don't think that the Indiana defense has played a rushing offense or an offense like Ohio State's, and I think it's going to start with on the ground for Judkins. His chart was looking a little better than Henderson's, and his, I think, line was 14 yards higher. But nonetheless, they've been running the ball through him. This is the reason why they got him, went to go out and get him for games like this. I think they're going to ride his workload, and he's going to go over 65.5 rush yards. And this second pull is just a crazy one. If you're from Pittsburgh, you know that this guy, this kicker, this is like the VT kicker. Krabs. This guy's name is Ben Sauls. He's up for a 1.5 demon field goals made. I don't like
Sauls.
Yeah, I don't like Pitt at all against Louisville this week. I think Louisville crushes them, but I do think that the offense does enough after Yarnell somehow almost beat Clemson last week to at least get into the red zone, maybe stall. But Ben Sauls gets his 2 field goals. The chart was for some reason really red, even though he has for sure made field goals the last couple of weeks. He's up for 1.5 demon.
Incorrect chart. Okay.
Yeah, he's up for 1.5 demon. I like him to get 2 at least.
All right, Ben Sauls. Sure.
Very good.
Ask any questions about that one.
Kicker.
All right. I actually know for a fact he's a good kicker. I've seen him kick this year. He's got a fucking leg and a half.
Yeah.
He's right up there with Dr. John Love. Got to respect it.
Dr. John Love, man.
Bro, we just print kickers. We had our guy Romo make his debut last week in the NFL, former Hokie legend.
I did see that.
Brian Johnson, who's been on BTL actually before, way back in the day. It was a Hokie when I was there, our kicker. He got a couple shots in the league, right? Joey Sly, you guys know.
Yep.
I've hung out with him before. No big deal. And now we've got Dr. Love, who's next up for the Hokies.
Don't forget about
Unbelievable.
Mitch Jeter over there in South Bend.
Mitch fucking Jeter.
Notre Dame also has
And
had some good kickers.
The best kicker in the league,
wow.
Brandon Aubrey.
Yeah, people forget. Ben Saul is about to turn into Brandon Aubrey this weekend. Good.
Don't think they beat Louisville, but he's going to kick too.
Some VT kid definitely has a Twitter burner named Dr. John Love. Yeah, I bet my life on that.
For sure.
Guaranteed. Yeah, Hokies Twitter is a good place today. It's kind of sad right now, but they care. And they got a lot of burners, a lot of weirdos out there that care. All right, let's move to Jovan Squares. Wow. Interesting.
Has to be done. I think this is my favorite square of the weekend completely. Malachi Fields got to take something in the early game. And again, I don't care whether it's Tony Muskett or Anthony Calandria. We're taking the senior on senior day against this defense that really hasn't had the chance to get fully exposed. And even when they've played some shittier offenses, shittier passing attacks, cough last week against Grayson James and BC, they're still getting exposed. So Malachi Fields is not only getting you 54 yards, he's getting you 100 plus and a touchdown or 2. He's going to absolutely dominate. Now, I would love if it was Calandria. I don't know if I trust Tony Muskett enough to fully reach his ceiling here, but I don't think it'll matter. He's going to absolutely tweak. This is going to be the guy that's the go-to guy, nail the big play to potentially win UVA this game, or at least lead them to a cover. So love Malachi Fields. Then Devin Neal, he is going to get absolutely fed this weekend and in this game against Colorado. This is going to be their path to victory, especially at a quote-unquote home, even though it's the Chiefs Stadium, funny enough for future NFL or Shadur Sanders. Devin Neal, you beat this team with speed on the outside, especially in the run game. A lot of teams they've faced recently haven't been able to do that because that's not how they're built. Kansas is built like that, and especially when they face a team that has a running quarterback, Colorado is focused a lot more on stopping the rush from there. Cough, cough. Avery Johnson, when DJ Giddens ran for 200, I think, plus, and Avery Johnson, they had a spy on him every single time he touched the ball, which was every play, obviously. So they're willing to give it up on the ground. They don't want to give it up on the ground to the running quarterback. Devin Neal is going to be the focus of this game. How's Kansas going to win this game? Because Devin Neal is going to get 25 touches in this game, run for 150, and maybe get involved in the receiving game too, which he has been recently. So give me these two geysers.
Yep. UVA always has one good receiver. Right now it's Malachi Fields. And Devin Neal's about to go absolutely nuts this weekend. He's about to carry Kansas. I'm in.
Nuts.
Love the squares. Rav, any comments before we move?
Love Devin Neal. I think I'm going to take Virginia as well. I think I'm going to place that Virginia ML and what was the other 10 point?
UConn.
UConn, yeah.
I mean, it's for sure not hitting because they're the same, pretty much the same line at the same time, but might have some hope. One of them's winning.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I do like a lot of the plays though. I need to craft the parlay for tomorrow. I have a few.
Why don't you go get in the lab? We're about to kick you off of here. We're going to get into some college basketball and then NFL previews for the weekends. But Rav, as always, appreciate you coming on, giving out some winners, giving out some analysis.
Of course.
And hopefully the majority of these plays cash.
Yeah,
right?
I actually was just looking yesterday. I texted Goodsis 10-4 in the last two previews.
There we go. Fuck yeah. Clap it up, Rav.
Let's fucking go.
W accountability.
Rare.
W accountability. All right, Rav, stay hot.
Rare. Fuck you.
Rare Rav W's.
Surely that
Rav
goes
W's
well.
don't grow on trees, man. They don't.
All right,
Surely that goes well for our Ohio State play this weekend. Okay.
Yeah, fuck.
Hey,
and ASU.
People forget. Rav did call it sucker bet of the year on Indiana plus 13.5. That is now 10.5.
Yeah. Fuck.
Okay. Sure. Surely that
I'm
goes
so
well.
confident.
Rav, I'll catch you, my man.
We'll be seeing.
Appreciate you having you on. Let's go ahead and move and groove chat onto some CBB. We'll get Rav out of this puppy. Let's go ahead and hop in. You guys have been bitching in the chat for some college basketball winners. You guys want to get in some plays for this afternoon, and I don't blame you. So we'll go ahead and hit college basketball right now, Jovan, and then we'll get into the NFL weekend preview. Any live bets you'd recommend right now? I mean, I really wouldn't. Miami's down 9-0 though, so maybe you could get a good number on Miami, who was a favorite in that game, but they might just fucking get absolutely destroyed and they might just suck after that Drake loss. So I wouldn't be betting that live, but that's probably your best look is Miami live right now after going down 9-0. Maybe we could take a peep at some of these games starting up soon, Jovan. We've got Pitt laying 7.5 against LSU, two undefeated teams. This game's on national TV in about 20 minutes. Any thoughts on Pitt or LSU and that total drop in 5 points as well?
That's an interesting game. I think Pitt is way more physical than LSU, and that's probably going to show in this game. So, I would initially lean Pitt. I think LSU's little run to start the season. I mean, obviously the level of competition was not necessarily there outside of the Kansas State game, where I think they looked decent, but it was really just Kansas State being terrible on the defensive side of the ball. That ain't Pitt. So I would 100% lean Pitt in that game to beat the shit out of them.
Big number.
Big number.
7.5 now. I know it's a neutral site. That's a big number, though.
That's a pretty big number, I would say.
Okay. All right. Looks like the one and only Casper said I took LSU with the points. I hope that's not a shit wager. Respectfully, it might be. But I'm probably not going to get to the counter with Pitt. So, Jovan, are you?
Might have to.
It's definitely getting some good movement. Tell you that much.
Yeah.
It looks like the play. Any comments on McNeese? They also play in a little bit less than an hour. They're playing Illinois State, laying 9.5. Probably should be laying more, but they've already got 2 losses under their belt. So are you rolling with your McNeese boys here?
Yeah, they do have 2 losses under their belt, but those are at least one of those is a very
one was a
respectable
real
loss. Yeah. And I mean, South Dakota State's not bad either. So it's a little different of a situation than Illinois State. But I can tell you one thing. I don't really love McNeese in this game, but defensively, I mean, this is going to be a masterclass for them because Illinois State is going to turn the ball over probably 20 times in this game. That's what McNeese defense is built around. So, like, I think at the very least, you're probably going to get a game that's a little low scoring, pretty tough to get buckets behind. So I wouldn't mind the under in this game.
Totals down from 137 to 135. Good sign for the under.
Yeah.
All right, but it doesn't sound like you're going to be playing anything in that game, which is okay. That's a moose shit game, but I had to bring it up. I know that's your squad. So another game involving 2 moose shit teams that I did want to give an angle on: Presbyterian versus Youngstown State. I don't know if I've hit a bet on Youngstown State since I've been betting college basketball, which is honestly crazy. But this team, I swear to God, is fake sharp every fucking game. They never come through the Penguins. I don't know what it is, but I do like them -6 after we saw Presbyterian. And also, what the fuck is Presbyterian's mascot? The Blue Hose? What is that?
Real?
That can't be their fucking mascot. What even is that?
You're right.
Yeah, somebody in chat, check the Carfax on that. What's Presbyterian's mascot there? I like Youngstown State here laying that big number after Presbyterian's coming off that +8.5 outright win yesterday. That's just me. Probably not going to play it, just a lean, but I thought that was a big number for Youngstown State, who looked pretty solid against Monmouth and took care of business in their last game. And before that, they hung around against Syracuse too, and put up a 95 piece. So I'd lean Youngstown State and fade Presbyterian off that big win yesterday.
Yeah, I can get down with that.
Yeah, nobody in chat can confirm.
Probably is.
What the fuck even is that, though? I want to know.
It's true. I looked it up. It's like they have a statue like outside their football field. It's like I don't know. It's like a warrior or something. I don't know. It's got a sword.
Okay.
It's got a kilt on.
What?
It might be some Scottish shit.
That's weird.
The Blue Hose.
I'm actually learning about this right now as we speak. The Blue Stocking Presbyterians. Okay, I guess that's what they used to call them or something.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense, right?
Really odd.
All right. Well, maybe just fade them for that stupid reason in there, right off the rip, and back the Penguins. Okay? I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? JMU, UCSD. I'm not doing it, but I'll tell you what. JMU only laying 2.5.
I was
to a UCSD team.
Shocked that didn't make your card.
Yeah, I wanted to do it, but I've also learned my lesson. Fade JMU, these pieces of shit. They cover, they win. Hate them. I do lean UCSD though, that's for sure. Love my San Diego guys out there. But they've taken care of business. They came through yesterday. No need to force.
Fair.
Right? Certainly lean San Diego here in the spots, but you won't see me fading JMU because they fucking win and they cover. Plain and simple. Temple, Florida State. Florida State laying 4.5 against Temple. Thoughts on that game?
You know what I think? I love backing Florida State's defense, especially when they're playing a team that I don't think can handle the athleticism at 1 through 5, really, in the size. And I think Temple is quite certainly one of those teams. They struggle with it a little bit against BC, who only has like a couple of guys that kind of fit that. And FSU is bringing out the whole football team. So I think it's FSU minus 4.5 for me.
All right, chat. Sound the alarms. I got my first play, I believe, coming up in college basketball. It's in less than 3 hours. It's not coming up immediately, but it's a 5 p.m. game on YouTube. You can watch this one for free, I believe. How about the Tommies, who are 3-2, facing a Wofford team who's lost 3 games in a row, a Wofford team that just scored 35 points in their last game against Duke on the road, and before that lost outright to Presbyterian. Speak of the Blue Hose, there they are. When they were -5 in that game against Presbyterian, they lost outright. Before that, they lost to Lipscomb by 9. They didn't cover that game. This team is still looking for their first cover of the season. They're 0-4 against the spread. Absolute fucking joke. They got their shit kicked in by Chattanooga earlier this season as well. But I'm looking, actually, that was last year. Fuck. They played Lipscomb, Presbyterian, Duke, and a made-up team where they won but didn't even cover against them, a school that I've never even heard of. That's their 4 games this season. We're going to back them today. After saying all that and roasting them, and we're going to fade the Tommies, who have been a little bit more competitive this season than people probably expected. Sure, they're coming off a bad loss against Arizona State where they only put up 66 points. And before that, they lost to Oklahoma State, but they did cover that game. The game before that, they won outright on the road to Green Bay. That was an impressive win, and the Tommies right now are 3-2 this season. Those 3 wins, though, are against legitimate made-up teams. And I'll go ahead and fade the Tommies, bless their hearts, who open up as favorites in this spot. And I'll back Wofford, who for some reason Jovan is catching steam after putting up 35 points against Duke in their last game. Give me Wofford. They're 1-3. There's no reason why they should be favorites in this game in this spot anymore with how bad they played of late and how much better the Tommies have been this season. I'll go ahead and back the Terriers at home on the ML to get a big-time win. And it doesn't hurt that the splits look like this as well.
Wofford Goats. I'm in.
The Terriers. Don't let them get hot. It might be too late, chat. Give me the Terriers on the ML. All right. See how it goes. We have not talked about NFL yet. That's coming up soon. Wanted to get through some of these college basketball games here, chat, before we did. Wisconsin, UCF. Any thoughts in that game, Jovan?
I mean, I'm in a blender with that game because, I mean, surely I would love to fade Wisconsin after that legacy performance against Arizona. They kind of already had their weird, I don't know, like bounce back game where they were incredibly shit right after that. They almost lost to UT Rio Grande Valley, and they probably should have. But now they're going to UCF, who's already pulled up a big upset this year. So I don't know if I can do it, especially being that there is that UTRGV game in between. So
yep,
probably still lean Wisconsin. I don't love it though. It's probably going to be a pretty physical game. Maybe rely on some lack of points in that one because, yeah, I mean, Wisconsin's coming off of, I mean, really all season they've been scoring a lot more. The offense has been a lot better. They haven't really had that true Wisconsin defense game yet. Might come against this UCF team that can match them physically a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I lean UCF, but definitely not going to play it after that shit. No thanks. I'm officially off that game. For that reason, I'm out, as they say on Shark Tank. For that reason, I'm out. Let's move on to a better game that I really want your opinion on. Seton Hall, Vanderbilt. Say that I was right about Vanderbilt.
Oh, what?
I think I was. I think they're good. I know we talked about this the other day.
I do think they're good.
Yeah, I think they're good. Vanderbilt. Just like we saw with their football team and NIL being just absolutely thrown at that football program, new coaches, new players. Same thing with the college basketball program. Shocker that Vanderbilt, with a great alumni base, very rich, smart alumni, is getting better in the time of NIL. I'm not surprised to see them at 5-0 at all. And they have a chance to beat a Seton Hall team who's not good, but is coming off a big-time outright upset against VCU where they played really well last night. They're going to be tired. They're going to be fat, happy, and complacent. Vanderbilt's catching 3 points of steam. I hate to back an undefeated squad in this economy, Jovan, but I do want to back Vandy at this number. -5, -5.5. I thought that was significant against a perennial wagon in Seton Hall that's been much better at basketball just in the sport's existence, lifetime, right? Vanderbilt's never been fucking good.
Yeah, you won't hear an argument from me. I probably lean Vandy with you. Not there, not going to take it, but they are good. It's a weird style match. It's Seton Hall that wants to play like a turtle, and Vandy wants to run.
Yeah,
so we'll see how it plays out.
Yep. What's good, Money Habits? How we doing, Beast? We got you on the winners, my man. They should be scrolling across the bottom board on that ticker. Okay. No surge today, guys, but Trent might be going live to open up some packs, I believe.
Yeah,
I think I heard that there might be some pack rippers going on later, either on TikTok Live or on here later. So check that out. I'm sure he's talking about it on his Twitter. So, but no surge today. Okay. What about the total they're saying? I like the over in this game. I think Vandy wins this game and covers. And I think, like Jovan just said, 2 very different styles of play. Seeing Vandy catch that steam and that total moving up, in my opinion, tells me that Vandy's got a better chance to cover this game and it goes over than Seton Hall, who's coming off a miracle win last night. Give me the over. Seton Hall, if they win this game, it's going to be with defense. They might have some tired legs.
Well, we're talking about some stuff that happened last night leading into today. Can I direct your attention to Texas Tech? Potentially.
Yep. You can.
They are just about around that same number. Syracuse is. They were last night against Texas. I think we both. I didn't bet either of these games as far as side goes, but I think we talked about it. We thought that Syracuse could stay in it. We thought Texas Tech was in trouble. It's exactly what happened. Texas Tech lost outright to St. Joe's. Crazy game. And Syracuse, I don't know how they hung in this game against Texas because there were times at the start of the first half and there was like a moment in the second half. They looked like the worst basketball team I've ever seen with two eyes. Texas was worse, though, at points. Kept them in it. Texas Tech getting up from 10.5 to 11.5 after that outright loss when Texas, I don't really believe in their defense nearly as much as I do Texas Tech. I think they're going to cause matchup problems for Eddie, which Eddie, they sneakily has some great game plans for him when TCU played him in those days. So they're going to bring him out of the paint, make him space the floor a little bit. That's when Syracuse was really, really bad yesterday. So that number feels a little large, probably for that reason.
Agreed. It's got to be Texas Tech in that spot.
Yeah.
It's got to be Texas Tech. Are you going to play them?
Yeah.
Totals up in that game too. All right.
Yeah.
Fat number after a loss. Good call on that spread being short against St. Joe's yesterday.
Yeah, wish I got involved.
Great call there too. All right. Any other late night games or big time games that you want to touch on besides obviously ones that were in our sharp reports that we like, that we've already touched on? Any other plays that we're missing? Crazy games? You talked about what you think is going to happen in that Duke game. Duke losing to Arizona. I definitely lean Arizona with you. There's one other really good game late night tonight as well, I believe. I'm forgetting about it. Baylor, Tennessee. I like Baylor, right? You're going to hear people today saying Baylor shouldn't even be here in this spot, right? They shouldn't have even advanced in this tournament. Well, they did, and they're here. And I like them much better than Tennessee, and everybody loves this undefeated Tennessee team. Look, don't get me wrong. Tennessee, very well-coached program, very good program right now in college basketball, but Baylor's already had their loss. They're not getting another one. They showed that last night, in my opinion, and Tennessee is public once again. Just like I said, nobody wants to bet Baylor. They shouldn't even be here, right? They shouldn't even be in this game, right? Well, Baylor is extremely talented, and they still have not played a good game of basketball, in my opinion, this season. They've underperformed every game, and they're still 4-1. I think they get a big-time outright win in this game, and I will be on the plus 4.5 against Tennessee. Frauds. Has to be done.
Yeah,
I love my guy Igor Militic on Tennessee. I respect Ziegler. I do, coming back from that brutal injury. But I'm not a Tennessee guy. I'll back Edgecombe and Cup on Baylor.
Yeah, sneaky narrative, I guess, that I completely forgot about. Not that it would have mattered yesterday, but VJ, they're playing the Bahamas. So VJ is probably going to have his moment or his game at one point. Might be today. Baylor, I don't know. I'm going to take them with you. I don't love them, but I want to get involved. The reason I will get involved is like their defense is kind of bad. Like the guards, this is the same story we say every year. The guards really can't guard on the ball very well. So like if you drive past them, you're probably going to score. The thing that Tennessee like doesn't do though is exactly that. So like if you're trying to facilitate through Igor, which Igor is really good, so like they should, obviously, that's not really the best way to consistently beat Baylor. So like Ziegler is going to have to go off the dribble quite a bit, which when he does, we seen it all year, but even like last night, even though they controlled the second half of the game, he turned the ball over a shit ton and took a couple really, really bad shots. So if you're doing that, that's probably an issue.
Give me the Bears. Has to be done. We'll take the points, though. We might need them. How about St. Joe's only plus 7.5 against Texas? I feel like at this point, maybe it makes sense. St. Joe's been on fire.
I think it does.
Still think it's a short number.
Yeah,
but I would not mind fading Texas.
I was debating hopping in and maybe buying low on Texas, like betting against the line move. Don't know if I quite want to do that, but the line feels right.
Okay. One more game, and then we're getting to the NFL previews chat. Stick with us. Late night. I'm sure you guys, if you're tapped, you've seen the uniforms. You've seen the Hawaii slurpage tonight. Well, they're still getting plus 15.5 points against UNC. And what the fuck? Whose hands did they have to shake? What deals did they have to make to get UNC to come out there and play in Hawaii? Maybe this is like UNC's little vacation before the season, or like they're almost like little tournament that they're playing in. I don't fucking know.
They're
who convinced UNC to go out there?
Playing in Maui.
They're playing in Maui?
Like, they're playing this at Hawaii, and then Maui starts like this weekend, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense then. Sure. Okay. I mean, yeah, that makes an incredible amount of sense then. If they're just staying out there on the West Coast, sure. Either way, Hawaii's getting gassed up. Hawaii is 4-0 to start the season. That angle won't change the play that I like in this game. Hawaii has these cool new uniforms with flowers on it that people think are going to impact the game and matter and help them cover and win this game. I don't agree whatsoever, and I would actually play UNC probably in the spot, laying 15.5. We know that's a tough place to go play. It's a lot of travel for a team all the way on the East Coast. You're already seeing some bets on the spread there for Hawaii, way more than I would expect. Almost 50% of the money is on Hawaii right now already, probably because they have cool uniforms and they're home, and everybody knows first thought that goes into your head is, wow, that's a long flight for UNC. Well, they also have NBA players on their team, and I'll go ahead and back them against a overrated Hawaii team that's 4-0.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree. It's a lot of points to be getting on the island. Don't know that I want to get involved.
Yep. And yeah, chat, look at all those bets. Sure, all 5K of them. Sure. All right, let's move. Let's groove. Let's get involved back in the NFL here, Jovan. It's time. Let's lock in. Gucci, run that shit. I want to see that preview. All right, chat. You guys know the drill. Just like we did with college football and Rav, me and Jovan are going to rapid fire this puppy and talk about our favorite under, over, favorite, underdog, meat on tape play, and of course, 2 prize pick squares each as well. Why don't we hop right into it here and talk about the snooze fest of the weekend in the NFL? I had some trouble finding an under, so this is not my favorite play on the card, but I do like it enough to play it and give it out to you guys. I'll take the team total under for the Packers. A team of destiny so far this season, at least it seems like, and they've ripped off 4 wins in their last 5 games. Everything's looking pretty good so far for the Packers, at least in the standings. Now, if you actually watch them on the field, it has not been as pretty as the standings might show. They haven't covered in about a month, and they're playing a San Fran team that's extremely banged up, coming in on the road. Nobody expects this San Fran team, who, by the way, might not have their starting quarterback and has a ton of injuries they've already been dealing with this season already, but they might not even have Brock Purdy, hence why they're +3 probably in this game now. I'll tell you what. When's the last time we've seen the 49ers defense stand up and win a fucking game for them? What happened to them? What's going on with this 49ers defense? At some point, their defense is going to win them a fucking game. And I think it could be this weekend, with or without Brock Purdy. I still believe in the 49ers. I still think the 49ers can make the playoffs and make a run. I do. I'm not going to give up on them. I have not heard no bell. With them coming off a loss against Seattle in their last game, embarrassing loss in my opinion, and the Packers coming off that big-time win, they're 7-3. I do lean San Fran, but instead of getting cute, locking them in now, and Brock Purdy getting ruled out and fucking up the number, I said, you know what? I like the under in this game. I like the 49ers defense in this game. Packers have been overperforming a little bit in my opinion. I'll fade their team total, take the under 24.5, and lean on this 49ers defense to finally stand on business and do yob.
Yob. Might need it. I don't mind it.
Yeah. And they're going to need to do yob or else we're fucked. If their defense doesn't do yob, this under is kick.
Probably kick. Probably kick.
Do yob.
We'll see. I went Titans-Texans under. Maybe a little obvious. Don't really care. Will Levis, sneakily, the last couple weeks since he's come back from injury, has looked really, really good. He's made a couple throws that, like, if that were, God forbid, any other quarterback made that throw, you'd be seeing those clips for weeks, handful of them the last couple weeks. But he's been good. I think he's going to have a little bit of trouble, though, against this Texans defense, especially being that they're not going to be able to establish a run nearly the same as they have, especially like last week. They were able to run the ball. Tony Pollard's going to have a tough time. Tyjae Spears may or may not be in the fold. Who knows for this game? But I think he's going to have a little tougher of a time in the last couple weeks. And the Texans secondary looked a little questionable at times against the Cowboys. So I think that was a little just them overlooking the Cowboys. They eventually locked in and avoided the big plays and shut them down massively. I think the Titans might be able to stay in this game a little bit. It'll be a little tougher. It's a division matchup, obviously. These games are usually drawn out and a little tough and physical and one on both defensive lines. I feel like it's going to be that. A lot of the run game that's not really explosive one way or the other. Joe Mixon's going to get fed against this Titans team that, even though they've been solid against the run, I don't think that lasts in this matchup. So give me the under. Gross game.
Okay. Yeah, it's square, but you don't care. And you know what? Yeah, I don't either.
Not really.
I don't either. Fuck the Texans. They're not good. Seems like the book's out on Stroud a little bit.
A little bit.
Titans offense has not been great. Nothing really to worry about there, in my opinion. It might just be that bad.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sure. All right, let's move on to some overs. I like the over in Sunday Night Football. That should go well, right? Give me the over. Give me points in the Eagles and the Rams game. I'm going to stand on business. The Eagles defense is not as good as they've been playing, and the future Hall of Famer Matt Stafford is going to show you that at home this weekend on Sunday Night Football. That's why that total's moving up to 49. That's why the Rams, who are 5-5 against the 8-2 big and bad Eagles, coming off a statement win in their last game. Okay. Yep, I said it. It was for the Eagles. I'll give them that. They're on fire. They've won 6 or 7 games in a row. Well, then why is that spread so short? Why is that total so high? I'll tell you why. Because this Eagles defense is finally going to get exposed for what they are. And that's a bunch of fucking frauds. All right. Jalen Hurts, I will say the prize pick squares are making it seem like he's also going to carry the weight, though. And it's not just going to be an outright win. Rams blowout. Eagles can't do anything. I do think they will be keeping up offensively in this game, and the Rams defense doesn't scare me much. Cam Curl, yeah, he's really good. Thank God we let him walk because we would have overpaid for him. He's not that guy, pal. And the rest of that Rams defense really isn't either. So I do think the Eagles will put up some points in this game, hence why that total's moving up. I like the Rams outright. I like the Rams plus 2.5, but mainly I like this over in this game. And I see the Rams, Matt Stafford and co. carrying their weight, putting up some points, but also Jalen Hurts doing job as well. I'm sure even after that big win last week, he's still hearing the chirps about his inaccuracy at QB. It's a problem that needs to be addressed.
Sure. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Some Eagles points. Might need them. I'm going to go with the Patriots-Dolphins over, which if I told you a couple weeks ago this total was going to be sitting at 46, you'd probably say I was smoking crack. But last couple weeks, I mean, the Patriots especially have been slinging rock a little bit. Drake May looks fantastic. And in this matchup specifically, like I think this is one where they can let Drake May absolutely let it fly. But he has the crutch of a run game against the Dolphins defense that's really been struggling against the run as of late, especially, but really over the full course of the season. If you've been having fantasy running backs go up against the Dolphins, you've been pretty excited because it's been a profitable system to start your guys in. But I think Ramondre, if he's able to have a good day, that unlocks everything for Drake May in that offense. There's going to be a couple really explosive plays from the Patriots, and same goes for Tua and the Dolphins. The offense has looked revitalized, obviously, since he's been in there. Obviously, it's hard to look worse than when Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley are at quarterback, but that opens. I made the comment and took him the week that he came back. Doesn't just make the difference for the pass game, but makes a difference for the run game. Devon Achane is able to actually do something instead of being clamped and having 9 guys play on the line all game like he did with the other couple quarterbacks. So that's been the difference maker there. And this is also finally, people have been trying to nail this for a handful of weeks now. I think this is finally the Tyreek Hill game where he goes absolutely nuts. So I feel like this game on both sides, you're going to get a couple of crazy explosive plays, which love that for an over, obviously. But when that's the case, along with 2 ground games that I think are able to be consistently gaining 5+ yards a carry with 2 running backs that I will gladly be starting in fantasy this week, I'll take the over.
I like the play. I like the over in this game. I do. But did Christian Gonzalez die or something?
No, we're about to find out.
Okay. Because you're calling Tyreek Hill legacy game, and I'm not saying you're crazy. I like where your head's at. Tyreek is due for a breakout, but he's not going to have an easy matchup. That's for sure.
Hey, he never does.
Yep. And God gives his toughest assignments to his toughest soldiers, I think is one of those stupid quotes.
Yeah.
That could be Tyreek Hill, right? He's built for this shit. We'll see if he can do it against Christian Gonzalez. Tyreek hates the Pats. Love him this week. Devin says, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right. Let's move on to some favorites. Sure. Full transparency here. Wow, what the fuck? Ravens and Commanders up here in the same graphic? What the hell's going on here? Making my brain hurt. I did not love a favorite this weekend. I had to get a Monday. I apologize, chat, but I figured giving you a play on Monday that I like better is a better move than forcing something this weekend on Sunday. That's a favorite. Okay. I think you guys could probably agree with that. I do like the Ravens on Monday Night Football. Again, brother against brother. I'll take the favorite coming off a bad loss against the Steelers. A hungrier team that's laying some points on the roads. And I'll tell you right now, the Chargers are going to be a very, very popular dog with how well they've been playing of late, as they should. They deserve the respect. They deserve the credit. Harbaugh does. Herbert does. It's been a while since we've seen the Chargers play this well, right? This is the exact moment to fade. We back the Ravens on the road, lane 3. They win big. Statement win. I also like the over in that game as well.
Yeah, I'll be with you. I'm taking the Ravens.
Just cut the shit and tell me why you're taking the Manders, brother.
I mean, Cowboys got to show me at this point, dude. Feels like everything's weaning towards them finally like being shit for a couple weeks in a row, and then on Thanksgiving, like this is going to be, I don't know, that game against the Giants is going to be hilarious. Who even knows who both the quarterbacks are going to be at that point? But I don't think the train's going to stop when they head to wherever the FedEx Field actually is. But go to Washington.
Landover, Maryland.
Yeah, a weird game where, I mean, the Commanders are obviously coming off of, I would say, one of the more disappointing performances of their season, where big matchup, big chance in front of the whole world to get your division rival, and a massive game for the standings of the division. And it fall flat. Offense looked like dog shit. Jaden Daniels looked pretty clearly injured, but now coming into this game, you're going to be able to run with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler whenever the fuck you want on this Cowboys front seven, because we've seen it week after week after week. And even with like Micah Parsons getting back into the fold, you would hope that it at least pushes some stuff to the other side. It really hasn't. Like Joe Mixon obviously had the game of his life, won a lot of people their fantasy matchups on Monday. Now you're coming with a slightly short week against a team that needs a little bounce back, especially in the physicality aspect of the ground game. They're going to get it. Brian Robinson's going to have a great game. Eckler's going to do whatever he wants to. All the load's not going to be on Jaden Daniels' shoulders. So until the Cowboys show me they're going to compete in the ball game, I will fade.
Well, you're in luck. I think this is a new shit bet, so you're probably in business here. You're in luck. All right. My gut tells me it's the Cowboys keeping it close and covering for the first time in 2 months, but we know the old golden rule. You do the opposite of what a fan takes or thinks about their team. It's rule number one. And Prime also said he's on the Commanders. So that might be cake there.
Yeah,
but
I mean, that
could
offset. That could offset
me like in the other
both sides. Yeah.
Can at least cancel that out. Yes. Sure. I hope you're right, man. I do. I've just seen this movie before. And Cliff Kingsbury's getting a lot of hate for not being a second half coach. A lot of shit coming out about him.
Good.
Stinking.
Maybe he locks in the second half and keeps foot on the
fucking
throat.
Better, man. Figure it out. Figure it out, Cliff. Come on. All right, let's move. Let's groove. 2 W plays, 2 W blowouts, 2 W favorites. Let's move on to some underdogs, some upsets, some great stories. Teams pulling off heroic upsets this weekend. Who's it going to be? I'm going the Bears. This should be a good look. Just like we saw the Bears finish the season pretty strong last year, I think they'll do it the same thing again this year, where they got off to a terrible start. People are hating. They could have won that game last week. Nobody's going to want to go back to the Bears after losing that game last week on that missed kick, right? And they've lost 4 games in a row. They've only covered 1, and it was that last game last week. But just the eye test, I like what I saw a ton out of Caleb Williams in that game, even in a loss. He looked great. That was the best game Caleb Williams has played this season, and it's not because of the stats. I'm sure he's had better games with better stats. But if you just watch him, the eye test, he looked comfortable. He made the right moves. He wasn't afraid to get his legs up and moving, which is a key factor that Caleb Williams needs to continue to lean on when people aren't expecting it, right? He's not Jaden Daniels, but he can still get mobile, and he can still move and move the chains. It's got to be the Bears, and I really like what I saw out of Caleb Williams last week. This is a perfect buy low, sell high spot. You're selling high on the Vikings, coming off that 10-point win against the Titans, I believe. They've won 3 games in a row. After a couple losses, after starting undefeated, people are starting to now think, okay, the Vikings are back. They actually might be good. And don't get me wrong. I have been preaching from the mountaintops about Kevin O'Connell, saying this guy's one of the best young offensive minds in the sport. He is. But that's not going to be the issue this weekend. It's going to be their defense for the first time this season, letting them down. And the Bears and Caleb Williams for the first time this season, going out, getting a hard-earned win as an upset, as an underdog. They're going to go out there and win this game outright, but I will take the points just in case. And what I expect to be a very low-scoring, close, hard-fought divisional game. Give me the Bears. Plus 3.5, starving for a win. And I want to sell high on the Vikings.
Yeah, I can get down with that. It's a weird game. I have I don't know, the script that I kind of see happening leans into that for, I guess, my play too. I think Detroit Lions are finally going to lose their second game against the Colts this week. And then that leads right into them maybe beating the shit out of the Bears on Thanksgiving to start off that game. Because we all, of course, love watching the Lions play on Thanksgiving. But this isn't really me just like buying high, I guess, on how Anthony Richardson looked last week, because I will be the first one to tell you when Anthony Richardson looks like dog shit, and I took him last week. I took a lot of things Anthony Richardson last week. I had his touchdown for way too much coin. And he went in there and scored 2. So I'm not really buying into the Jets. The Jets are fucking terrible. But I'll tell you, the Lions' run defense is really, really good. So you look at this, really, anytime I want to bet on the Colts, I'm like, okay, whether AR or Joe Flacco's in the fold, I want them to have the crutch of the run so Jonathan Taylor can have a big day. That kind of carries them to everything easy. The Lions have one of the best rush defense in the league, so you would think that rules them out, except when a running quarterback's in the fold, that becomes vastly, vastly different. So like that, the first thing when looking at this game that caught my eye, Anthony Richardson, I saw his rushing yards a lot of places, and I even like tailed it in some lineups like last week. He didn't hit it. He had a good game on the ground, like he had 2 touchdowns, but didn't have the biggest game on the ground. That line is quite a bit higher this week, and I don't think that's an accident. His legs are going to be a pretty big part of this game, and I think it's going to be a huge game for him in multiple ways. I don't know if he gets in the end zone with his legs multiple times, but he's going to be running a shit ton. He's going to hit a couple big shots, probably to Josh Downs over the top of this defense. This is going to be a weird game, especially because for the Lions, you know what this game is before, Krabs? This is before they start a massive run of really big games. Obviously, they go the Bears on Thanksgiving, which is a big game just because it's an in-division game on Thanksgiving. Then they go Packers, which is a massive game on national television. Then they go Bills. Then they go back to the Bears. Then they go 49ers on the road. And then they close the season with the Vikings. So a lot of divisional games coming up. This is the game where they're going into Indianapolis, and it's going to be a little bit of a sleepy game because they just beat the fucking piss out of the Jags by, 46 points? Nobody thinks AR can have 2 good games in a row. Anthony Richardson's number 1 hater is right up here telling you he will, and they're going to win this game.
Yep. Love the Colts. Love the over in this game, actually. That was probably the play that if before I heard that sell job, I would probably take or recommend. After hearing that Colts sell job, yeah, sign me up for just taking the Colts plus 7.5 after the Lions won by 100, and no way they fucking lose. We've got people in chat in all caps saying, I'm going to tell you now, Lions are winning this game respectfully. I mean, yeah, the Lions are 9-1, and they're playing a 5-6 Colts team. A fucking rock could tell you that. Congratulations. That's not how we make money up here. And if shit like that happened, it paid out every time, 100% of the time, they wouldn't play the games, they wouldn't risk injury, and Vegas wouldn't look like it does. Grow up, read the room, learn from us. The Colts is a winner this weekend. Love that play. AR-15, back-to-back good games. No chance, right?
Back-to-back. I'll be backing him. I'm telling you like this. It's not up on the board because I got some squares that I like even better, but that rushing yards is really odd. The fact that it's even higher. And it makes football sense, I guess, a little too, because you would think Jonathan Taylor is going to have a little bit of a tough time. I don't think it's going to be nearly as tough as like a line would indicate or like general logic would tell you, because I think he's going to be all right. But AR is going to use his legs. Again, I don't know if he gets in twice, but I think he's getting in the end zone again.
Okay. Well, let's hope for that over and for the Colts' sake that he does. He's probably going to need to be honest with you. All right. Let's move and groove on to some meat on tape plays here. Our favorite plays of the NFL weekend, our favorite plays of the NFL slate. I'll go ahead and lock in the Seahawks at +1. Depends on what book you're looking at. Some places they're -1. But this line's kind of been flipping back and forth, +1 and -1 for the last week or so. I'll take Seattle, who showed me enough in their last game after 3 losses in their last 4 games before that. They pulled off a nice win against San Fran on the road. Typically wouldn't back a team like that coming off that big-time win, but in this case, when they're playing an Arizona Cardinals team that everybody loves, they're 6-4. People are gassing them up. People are betting on them. People are making money. They've won 4 games in a row. They've been very, very friendly to bettors, right? They've covered 4 games in a row as well. This is the spot to fade the Cardinals on the roads, going to play in Seattle, the 12th man, tough place to play. And this game means more for Seattle, who still needs a big-time win here for Coach McDonald, who still has not proved yet, in my opinion, that he's a good coach in the NFL. 5-5 right now for Seattle. You guys know I'm not a Geno guy. So if I'm giving out the Seattle play, you must know I like it a lot. They get this big-time win at home. It's finally time to fade Arizona coming off that 31-6 win against the Cardinals. Okay, and everyone's saying, oh, Arizona's coming off a bye as well. They're going to be rested. They're going to be ready to roll. Guys, look at the stats. Check the data. Teams coming off of byes are not covering this season. They're not. Plain and simple. Check the data. Check the Carfax. They're not covering. That rest has been rust, and that's hurt teams this season. All right? Give me Seattle. They're coming off a big win. They carry that momentum into a game at home against Arizona, who's been lucky as shit, and they're not good. And you're going to see that this weekend.
Sure. I think I'm in. I'm kind of going back and forth on that game. I don't know what I really want to do, but might be tapping in with you on the Hawks.
Sure. Favorite play of the weekend.
Yeah.
Love it.
In.
Let's hear about the Bucks meat on tape. You don't see this every day.
Yeah, hasn't happened, I don't think, at all so far this year. But I like betting the Bucks as a favorite. That's when I've had my best reads on them so far this season, and especially when they're on the road. I love that too. But let me preface this with this. This is what I have said this for weeks now. They were going to go on this run where they really struggled. Obviously, they're shorthanded on the offensive side of the ball, but that hasn't been the problem. The defense is terrible. Todd Bowles, war criminal. They were going to go through this stretch where they played a lot of the better teams in the league. They were going to really struggle. Then they get a bye week. Giants are also coming off a bye week, but irrelevant to the conversation. They get a bye week, and then have you seen their schedule for the rest of the year, Krabs? It is pitiful. They go Giants, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers is a tough game. Cowboys, Panthers, Saints. It's like, other than the Chargers, like, they legitimately might win all of those games. Some of them by a decent margin. This one might be one of them. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to be just good enough to either make the last wild card spot or barely miss, so that Todd Bowles keeps his job because of this last season run. And it starts this week, where everybody apparently it's sharp to take Tommy DeVito +6, I guess, at home, whatever, because he had his little magical run the first time this happened, sure. But the Bucks, when they go on the road and they're able to lean on the run game, which they will, Bucky Irving is going to go absolutely nuclear, and Mike Evans is going to be back in the fold. So, like, not only is that a big boost to the offense, not the offense really needed it, but it's a big boost to the locker room, just in general, to have him back there. They're going to come out and they're going to win this game pretty comfortably. I feel pretty confident they're winning this game by at least a touchdown, maybe more. Might come out a little slow because both teams are coming off a bye week. I don't see them just blitzing them from the start like they did necessarily like in the Saints game. But I think it's going to play out in the end relatively similar. I think they win this game by quite a bit in the end.
All right. I hope you're right. Fuck the Giants. Bucks roll. Love
that. And I'll say this too. This is the only week I'm not going to specifically do it because it is first game back, and I think Bucky Irving has a huge game. But they've come out and said multiple times, like Baker's openly said it, Todd Bowles openly said it, Liam Cohen's come out and said it. It's going to be really hard for Mike Evans to get to 1K. They are trying their hardest to force him the ball, to make him do that. So Mike Evans receiving yards, maybe you don't do it this week when it's first week back, and I think they're going to have maybe an L game script come the second half. I will be taking it every single week after that. Every single one. Because they are going to force feed. Do whatever they can to at least get him close. Make it a possibility.
I love it. Love the angle. Love the sell job. Let's fade the fucking Giants this weekend when they have their trendy quarterback coming back over to save the world, who got them some wins last year. Let's fade the fuck out of that guy and that annoying ass narrative. Tired of it.
Yeah, I need it.
Tired of it. I'm with you. All right. Dr. Race Chaser said, the guy that has lost money the last 2 months just said, learn from us. Laugh emoji. You know, I wish I didn't have to spend time on comments like this because Dr. Race Chaser is not worth my time. I'm better than him. But just so chat doesn't get the fucking wrong idea. Okay, I can't have people spreading false bullshit. Last 30 days, 83, 67, and 4, all tracked, all bet, up 7.1 units. Literally up coins. And if I was like 99% of other people who were in this spot doing this job, I could sell my picks to you. But instead, we're up here for free, working our butts off, trying to find you guys winners, answering our questions. So if you have a problem with that, you can go find another stream. We're going to keep working our asses off to find you guys winners and keep grinding. Okay, if anybody has a problem with that, you can find the door. Sure. All right.
Sure.
Let's move on to some prize pick squares. Jaden Daniels. It's been a while since he's found pay dirt, huh, Jovan?
Wow.
It's been a while. He's injured, right? Hasn't scored in like 5 games on the grounds. But you mentioned something very important earlier, okay? You mentioned the moose shit rush defense from the Cowboys. And you're right. They do have a moose shit defense, rush defense especially. And you're going to see that this weekend with B-Rob, with Eckler, and then once they get into the red zone, with Jaden Daniels breaking one off, showing that he's healthy as an ox. I'm sure he wants to shut up all the narrative in the media about him being hurt. I can't tell if he's hurt or not. I can't tell if he's fucking with us. I can't tell if Dan Quinn's fucking with us. It certainly looked like in that game he was banged up. But then he's going afterwards saying, I'm fucking healthy as an ox. I'm fine. Well, we'll see if you're healthy as an ox this weekend, JD5. You've got a high rush attempt square. You've got a high rushing yard square. You're going against a bad rush defense. You're minus 10.5 point favorites. And if you're as petty as I think you might be, Mr. Smiley back there, JD5, you might want to shut up the media and show that you're healthy this weekend with a rushing touchdown against your rival. Give me JD5 at a demon price. He's scoring this weekend.
Sure.
And then Sam Darnold's, you like it? Good.
Yeah.
Good. Sam Darnold, less than 229.5 pass yards. Greenest chart on the app. We're going to keep leaning into that narrative in the NFL. It's worked very well. Knock on wood. We're going to roll the dice again here, and we're going to fade him in a game where I think the Bears defense stands all business, and they get a big-time outright win against the Vikings at home. Sam Darnold will be seeing ghosts once again against that secondary. Fade his passing yards. Love this angle.
Sure.
Sure.
I want to hear what you have to say. I was also pretty confused seeing that Marshawn Lattimore is also hurt again now.
Yeah. So again, remember when I was bitching the other day about why do we trade for a guy that's not going to play? And you said, it's fine. He's going to play this week. Nope.
Yeah. I let it splooge for a little bit, but now with the hammy injuries popping back up.
Yeah, no, this is good.
Yeah, you might have been onto something.
Yeah, let's trade for a guy that's not going to play for a month. Cool. And let's take his fat contract too.
At least you get him when it matters. Hopefully.
Hopefully. A lot of season left. All right, let's go to your squares. We don't have time. We don't have time to talk about the Commanders right now. Bucky Irving and Marvin Harrison. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Bucky Irving. I mean, I could
love the Bucky angle.
I could give you 15,000 stats of just how bad the Giants' run defense is, and obviously, I think this is going to be a game where the Bucs are going to be in a W game script for a majority of it, especially down the stretch. And Todd Bowles, he actually said something pretty important this week, because you remember the first time he said, like, Bucky Irving has earned more touches, like way back a couple weeks into the season, and then like he barely said anything, so it was like a what the fuck, Todd? Like, how are you not going to come out and like half-ass say this? And then Bucky Irving got a shit ton more touches. He doubled down on that this week. So like, not that I needed this, like to think that Bucky Irving was going to have a big game, but he doubled down, saying that maybe like the workload is going to lean even more towards Bucky, which for Todd Bowles to say even the slightest bit of something is really important. So I think he's going to get absolutely fed. Obviously, the matchup is there. The Giants are horrid in every single area of against the run. So like W matchup, of course, Rashad's going to have his hand in the receiving game. Sean Tucker's kind of been phased out a little bit. Maybe you see him a touch, but Bucky Irving, would recommend you don't leave him out of your fantasy lineups this week. That's all I'll say on that.
Good. I'll start him in mine. Love that.
Then Marvin Harrison. I think this is kind of the start of the uptick for Marvin Harrison, because I have him in a couple leagues. Been a little frustrating, but before the bye week, I don't think it was like he didn't put up massive numbers because they were up big in that game. But it was the first time I think I've watched the Cardinals and watched Marvin Harrison, and I've seen him do like the slightest bit something different, like route tree wise. And it's the first time I think they've mixed it up. Now, they didn't come with massive numbers again because they were up so big in that game. But now, after a bye week, I feel like you're going to get him unleashed, especially when people would, I guess, be scared of the corner he's going to face, or one of the corners he's going to face. He's probably going to see a good bit of Tariq Woolen. Newsflash, as much as I love the Seahawks and their defense, that hasn't mattered because their secondary has been terrible. He doesn't really travel, but guys have been feasting, if you've been looking at the numbers in the last handful of weeks. So there really hasn't been any sort of adjustment. So I'm not all that terrified of Tariq Woolen or really whatever corner he's going to face. I think that game's going to have points. You sold me on the Seahawks a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be because their defense dominating. I think they come out of the bye week and they feed Marvin Harrison. And I think that's going to start very, very early against a secondary that has been exposed, frankly, the last handful of weeks.
Dr. Race Chaser, this might not make sense to your brain, but if I'm in a state that doesn't have the legal books, which I've been in for travel in recent weeks or months, that means that my bets don't track on Pickets. And like I always say, there's other places to see all my bets tracked. You can go to my Twitter as well, where I post all my plays. But just because it's negative on Pickett, that only has probably 70% of my plays for the 100th time. I don't get it. You guys know where to find all my plays tracked. I don't have to say it. Come on. Unbelievable, dude. Just idiots. All right, let's move. Let's groove, Jovan. Unfortunately, we do not have a ton of time, and we do have to get to a squad rides. I love your two squares here, especially Bucky Irving, especially Big Buck. I'm going to start him this weekend.
You should.
In fantasy. I'm in. All right. W's. Let's move. Let's groove. And let's get to the most important part of our day. Let's get to the squad ride for tonight. You in?
And
Gucci, run that shit. I want to see that damn train. All right, chat. Let's lock the fuck in here and let's find a goddamn winner for tonight. W squad ride last night. W NC State ACC. Let's fucking go. That shit gets me juiced up. Let's find another winner for tonight. Okay,
Right.
Jovan?
Yep.
San Jose State's going in here.
Has to.
Sure. That puppy's in there. Love to see it. What else are we looking at? What else are we eye fucking for today on the slate? I would like to nominate Wofford on the ML.
Time's that game? Get up and moving.
5 p.m. in 2 hours.
I could be down for that.
I think. Let's see.
Yeah.
If my iPad would load. I think Rab's been
hours.
borrowing my iPad too much watching Paw Patrol. If my iPad could load, I would tell
Rab's
you.
loading it up,
Yeah.
huh?
5 p.m. Eastern. I think we go Wofford. The more I talk through that one, looking at the sharps in the chat as well, I've fallen more and more in love with that play, even more than probably the CBB plays I have up on my sharp report right now, to be honest with you. Are you okay with us putting in Wofford?
Yeah.
Or Wofford's ML. Now I want to look at some of your plays here, Jovan, because you've got a couple that were looking at me kind of funny, and that included the Mavs and VCU. You have a preference between those two?
I mean, would probably be VCU, to be honest with you. And I know you hate that.
VCU's
Going straight back to them.
I don't hate going back to him.
Only because there's still the one. I mean, I'm going to play it regardless, even if he's out. But Jokic, if he ends up being out, I would like it a little less. Still would like it and be on it, but it's an unknown for now.
Let's go VCU plus 1.5. I'm in. Like that play a lot. They fucked us yesterday. Let's go back to them.
Right.
Anything else we have to put in here, my man? I mean, we know it's probably going to win the vote.
Screaming. I mean, yeah.
Okay, let's just run it. Wofford ML, VCU plus 1.5, San Jose State plus 7.5 on the gridiron. 3 plays, 3 winners, quality over quantity. Let's run it. Jack, get involved. If you're wondering, how do I get involved? How do I vote? How do I join the squad, ride a poll here, and how do I make my voice heard? Well, you come to the Twitch page at Bookit Sports, and you click the button on the screen in the chat. It's really that simple. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you. That's awesome. Great. Okay, YouTube's fucking awesome. But you got to get your ass over here to the Twitch at Bookit Sports and lock in your vote for the squad rides. I want to see 50 votes for the winning team. Okay, get involved. San Jose State clearly running away with it right now. I got no problems with that. Me and Jovan both have that on our sharp reports. But get your votes in. Make your voices heard. Don't just sit there. All right, 3 plays, 3 winners. San Jose State spreads, Wofford ML, and VCU spread. Okay. Dubs. Look at Wofford getting a couple votes. Good for them. Good for them. Turner Mac likes it. McNeese worth a bet. We talked about that earlier. I forget what your response was. We went over so many games.
Like him, don't love him. It's a weird game.
Yep.
They're still without Alan Breed still not playing. So can't say I really love betting on McNeese. They did get a big win last game without him when they're at home, but going on the road without your best player or neutral site without your best player makes it a little tougher.
It certainly does. It certainly does. It might just be Nick Nash, San Jose State, Coach Ken, all reliable after an all-time bad beat last weekend against Boise State. A bad beat of the decades. You had SVP almost crying on fucking SVP. I don't even know the best way to say it. SVP was crying on SVP. He was steamed SVP. Going over bad beats in that game. It's a mandatory bet. It's a mandatory wager. It's a responsible 1 to 2 unit play, and it's going to win the squad ride poll. I'm not surprised, and I'm not mad about it. I'm not. Chat, we'll meet you at the cash counter when San Jose State shows up tonight, shows out, and gets a big time cover and shit, maybe even an outright win at home after what the fuck happened last weekend. I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
Don't let the Spartans get hot. It might be too late. Right, Jovan?
Might be.
Sure. W's. Any parting words before we wrap up the show here? Goots, any PODs?
Might need a Goots POD in this economy.
Just see if we got any. Any Goots PODs up and moving? Maybe not today. That's all right.
Not today.
Not today.
Jeez.
Not
Jeez.
today. All right, chat. San Jose State college football tonight. College football, San Jose State plus 7.5. We'll meet you guys at the cash counter. As always, we appreciate you guys. WStream, WBTL Friday. We do this all for you guys. We do this all for Lembaugh. Don't you forget it. All right, we appreciate you guys showing up, showing out, being involved in the chat. Let's have a great fucking weekend and let's cash. I got a good feeling about the plays in college and NFL this weekend. I got a great feeling. We're going to be counting our guap. Chat, we'll catch you on Monday, same time, same place. We'll meet you at the cash counter tonight after San Jose State gets a big-time